Devin Ray graduated with his daughter, or went to school with him, he graduated with Ray class, I guess.
We're starting out great.
Yes. Looking at the clock, thinking,
If no one's here, boom, boom, done. Oh, we can. We have all these times on here.
You didn't come close enough together.
Marge, I called her from Cassuth and I said, "Are we calling you?" She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "How come we have more time than the other 5-minute ones?" I'm like, well, the projects, I thought we should have a little more time.
Oh, here, discuss.
You should have put more room on my sheet for open, closed.
Should have.
Should have, could have, would have.
I probably have some blank sign-in sheets.
Probably.
yeah, see, I went to 15 MySpace.
It's lovely
It's in
too.
14 font.
Yes.
Do you want me to write it down because you write so big? I am funny. I am
Hilarious.
funny.
What do people say about me when they look at me? No, that's a compliment or not?
Take it as a compliment, yeah. All right, we've got to be at 9 o'clock by now.
Keep it moving.
Say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approve this agenda. I'll second it.
Okay, on a motion from Stenger and a second from Gensel to approve the minutes of the agenda, I have a question. Do we feel comfortable approving the agenda when we have one item that has no subject to what we're discussing?
I don't know what you're saying.
Number 22,
No, that's, you're right.
can we approve that item on the agenda if we don't know what we're talking about?
I don't know what you're looking at.
Should be stated.
I guess I'll leave it up to you guys to make that decision. We made the motion second, so.
You know what? Let's vote it down. Yeah, you're right, I don't think we should. Yeah, well, it doesn't announce to the public what we're going to be discussing, so they don't know.
So I guess we have to proceed with the vote on the first motion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Aye. Motion fails.
So, omit 22? Do the motion?
That would be your motion to.
I'm asking.
Okay. I would say that would be the way, except, you know, with admitting and give the reason why, that there was not enough specifics to warrant discussion.
You just use that as motion. What you just said.
And I'll second it.
We have a motion from Stenrud and a second from Jensvold to approve the agenda except for number 22, which lacked specifics for discussion. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
You better call him.
Yeah,
Those, okay.
I'm a Chelsea Collin.
It's gonna be closer anyway.
We're gonna hurry. Take a
It's
short
not,
lunch break.
it's not that I don't want to talk to them, but
No,
it needs to be
Oh, that's
specific.
a
And
good point. I never
Ethan-
thought of it that way.
Ethan
No,
talked
that's
to
good.
Chelsea, and that's all it said. I mean, he really didn't expand on anything.
I know there are others in his department that have concerns over what's it about.
Yes.
Bill had a good comment. I thought that the public has no way of knowing what that's about.
It's one subject that
It's
someone
almost
might
like
wanna
we're
be
trying
here.
to slip something in.
Yeah.
I want to be transparent.
That doesn't always work. And they accuse you of not being that anyway.
it's any, that's 100% expert.
No.
So do you want to start the hearing?
Yeah, we can go ahead and start. Let's just get my notes down. It's a little complicated. All right. Number 2, 9 a.m. public hearing for DD 3-11 highway reclassification report.
I gave you this partially because it has a map on the back.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for DD 311 highway reclassification report.
Jens Bolton, a second from Stenser to approve the opening of the public hearing for 311. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, now we're up. Go ahead.
Okay. This one is about 4 miles east of Buffalo Center. You can see we have it circled on the drawing that I attached to the reclass for the main tile. The cross-hatched, red cross-hatching to the left on that page is Buffalo Center. What I gave you then was a copy of the main tile classification. There's several laterals on it. This is pretty typical of a district. Main tile and several laterals. The reclassification costs will more than likely just be spread over the main tile. That's how you usually do it. You don't break out little bits and pieces of it to put to each lateral.
Because it really affects everybody.
Exactly. Yep, the reclass affects everybody. We've felt for a long time the fairest way is to do it on the main tile or the main ditch as far as the reclassification costs because it catches everybody. So we spread $2,500 here. You can see there's not a lot of costs involved. That's probably why there's a lack of crowd. Nobody's spending very much. We used our typical soils numbers for benefit. You guys are familiar, the directions for reclassification are so basic. It's just the land getting the most benefit shall get 100 points, and the rest of the land shall get lesser points based on lesser benefit. Period. So each engineering firm kind of develops their procedure that they use. This has worked well for us. We've made, the biggest adjustments we've made is some of the soils numbers, and I base that on farmers' comments, farmers who have been commissioners with me. Used to be and you guys maybe have seen this enough to, like on a main tile or main ditch, the people right along that route used to pay 90 to 95% of the cost. And that's, by today's standard, that's not fair. Pattern tiling everywhere, so much tiling has gone on that we've spread it out considerably. The ones right on the main tile or the ditch typically have ground that needs it to work, so they're a little higher, but not like it used to be.
But now they're getting everybody else's water. Too.
Exactly,
Theirs doesn't drain as fast either.
exactly.
And in some cases, it backs up to them.
Yes, oh
It's not
yeah,
even in line, it just backs up there.
yep, oh yeah. You've all had calls on that, I'm sure.
That's what I was gonna ask you, well, how do we address that?
The golf carts driving range had no water on, just a little bit of water on it after the rain. 2 days later, it was completely flooded.
Oh, jeez.
Just kept coming.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, we had 2 inches, over 2 inches again on the weekend. And then just a shower last night.
Yeah, we got-
Just,
We're lucky.
We got, I was up in Rake and they had 2 inches in Rake. We get to Buffalo, they only had 4/10. You get just south of Buffalo, and I don't know if we got a 10th there.
oh, really?
I think in the last week, we've only gotten a total of a half inch, and that was just recently.
Not Rake, I was up there.
That you can handle.
If it would've rained a little sooner, I wouldn't have had to clean up and cut shrubs and all that stuff with my mother-in-law's.
Timing wasn't right for you, huh?
Anything else on this one then?
Not really. No, that's, there's no annexation with this one. Yeah,
Has there been any comments submitted?
Nope.
All right.
I talked to one, just explained what was going on.
yeah, that's 90% of the time, that's what they want to hear is how is this working?
Educate me here. How come highway, or I'm assuming that's Highway 9, has 20 acres?
Because it's along the highway.
It has wide right of way.
It does, okay.
Yeah, so it adds up pretty fast.
All right.
It's probably at least 100 feet wide. So, yeah. So every 400 feet, make an acre. Yeah, good question. That's the deal.
I have no problem with them paying their fair share.
There you
Well,
go.
no, I just was interested, it seemed like a lot for that. You're right, it does add up quick.
Yep.
Well, we need to close public hearing.
I'll say it.
Motion from Stender and a second from Jensel to close the public hearing for DD 311 highway reclassification. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Need to open DD 14.
I'll second it.
Motion from Stender and a second from Jensel to open DD 14 annexation public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
14 is northeast of Thompson. I just don't think there's very much to annex. Yeah, it's just one piece.
I don't need it, thank you.
The easiest way to look at this is just to look at the drawing in the back. There's just very little, and this is a typical case for where annexation is required, where originally they just followed the property line. If you look at that 17 and the drawing, where the annexation is, you can see that the east-west line through the center of section 17 is where the watershed line used to be drawn, but watershed rarely follows property lines in actual truth. So we decided in the reclass, we came up with this watershed. We do that with all our reclasses. So that then calls for an annexation, and that's why you have this report in front of you. We're recommending the annexation of those acres. The next to last sheet has a summary of the acres. It's less than 24 acres, but when we go through the process to do this anyway with reclass, even small areas are worth doing typically. This will take care of it for the future.
Is there action that needs to be done on these following these public hearings?
You've already approved the reports and then we set the public
Okay, so we
hearing.
looked at this one.
So now it's just if the public had any
Seen
comments.
that before.
What's that, the summary?
The annexation part of it, whatever.
Oh,
I haven't.
yeah, we would typically show you a copy of this or give you a copy of this when you set the hearing. We did just a quick review of it. at that time.
All right. Well, was there any comments submitted?
Nope, not on that one either.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for DD 14 annexation report.
I'll second.
Motion from Derby, a second from Jens Holt to close the public hearing for DD 14 annexation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. DD 14, I'll open the public hearing for DD 14 reclassification report.
I'll second it.
Motion from Derby, a second from Jens Holt to open the public hearing for DD 14 reclassification. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
This again is we're following our normal procedure. The only difference on this one than some of them is that we apply a proximity factor, which means if they're very far from the, in this case, the main ditch, we give them some reduction because they have to tile their property to the ditch to be able to use the ditch. These people are paying for getting the main closer to them, so they don't have to go as far. But let me just show you this. I don't know that I made copies. This is the main, and the area in gray has no adjustments. But as these get further and further away, we've made adjustments, and they're reflected in this reclassification. The biggest reduction we have on this one is 25%. Out
Okay,
here.
So now this goes back to that policy. Lay this down a second.
Yep, you bet.
So these people pattern tile
Yep,
up here,
yep,
and they're pushing it down to these lower areas, and they're paying more for the drainage because these people pattern tile. They're getting all the benefit from this tile working while these people are paying more for it.
well, they're paying a little more than here because they have to tile further to get to the main. Now, we can't take into account pattern tiling other than we have to say that this is designed based on everybody being able to pattern tile. Everybody has that right. So, to get something done here, they're going to have to either get approval from this landowner, or they're going to have to come to the board to get approval to go through, and then they have to pay damages to these people. If it's done as a county tile,
Also, I'm just looking at this. This tile actually comes to here, right, into their property. They're pattern tiling. They're forcing the water into the system, and then it's going to be stored down in the lower areas.
yeah, which could be as far as down here, but
Right, but
yeah.
anything lower is
Yeah.
going to have to store it.
Yep, that's true.
So that's why I question, is this the proper method of reduction?
Well, they still have to pay, it costs them more to get to the ditch than them, and we're only making a 5% difference. I mean, we're not.
So, I guess if this is a lateral up here, they're paying on that, plus they're paying anything
Yes.
down here.
Yes,
Okay. And these people down here aren't paying.
only on the main, right. Yep, that's the deal.
All right.
That's what makes it work.
They have to pay for the part they use.
Yes, yep, so,
So to start with, their bill is higher, but they have a 25% reduction.
yes, yes, correct.
All right. Question? Did we have any comments on this one?
No.
Okay. Hearing no further comments, I would make a motion to close the public hearing for DD 14 reclassification.
I'll second it.
A motion from Derby, a second from Jensvold to close the public hearing for DD 14 reclassification. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Can't.
Oh,
We jumped. Okay, so
Right.
now let's go down. Do we want to discuss discuss drainage.
Yeah.
We'll jump to number 21.
So we're having this project already on DD 18 that we're having the hearing on today. Landowner has come in to reclassify the district. Wants to make sure that everybody's paying their right fair share. That is up to you. It's not on the agenda. I wanted to talk about it.
Where's this at?
DD 18, the one up by Scarborough. So we can put it on the agenda for next week if you so choose.
So what's the gist of this now?
We already have a project going on 18 lot 11, 12, 13, and 29.
Right.
Paul Alves and Mark would like to have this reclassified.
Oh,
So,
I talked to you about that last
Yeah,
meeting.
I was just gonna say, that was.
okay. So I just didn't get it added, so I just want to talk about
I
it.
think that would be, you're okay with that, Mike, aren't you?
And then on DD, the 2168 that we're doing also today with Cassuth, when people have called to see, how much they would owe, I noticed at least 4 times that somebody was paying into DD 68 lat 2, but they weren't paying on the main ditch, which means the classification isn't right. So, also, it's not on the agenda, but I wanted to talk to you guys too and Cassuth today when we call, because we'd have to reclassify the whole district, which includes
So
Cassuth.
will either of those things affect anything we're doing today?
No, I just want to talk to Cassuth, see what their thoughts are, but it's a fact that 4 people at least are not paying into the main ditch and they're paying into lat 2.
I thought, yeah, cause 68 is the one just south of 21, right? Or
It's just west.
the,
Yeah, and the
Yeah,
district goes south, yep.
their main tile goes up into the ditch. On the rake up there, I thought we were reclassifying that.
We did DD 21, but we did not reclassify DD 68.
I thought we were doing it so we would get DD 68 to help pay for the ditch cleanup, because their water goes there.
68's only paying for 68, 21's only paying for 21.
Okay, well then we need to.
So now we need-
For some reason, I thought that was part of this process.
Nope.
To straighten that out.
We figured out where the line was for 21, and then those people are paying. Now, finding through people calling, I figured out the 68 isn't right.
No, yeah, I
So,
guess I was under the assumption.
no, I didn't do that with 68. We hadn't talked to Cassuth, but now
Yeah, I
I'd
thought
like
that's
to.
why we were redoing, because I've told people that's why we were doing it, was to make sure it's fair.
Yeah, so hopefully they will also agree to it,
This has a
and
drawing
then we'll
of
put it on the agenda next week too.
All right,
21, 68, and 68 lateral 2 in the back of it that you may want to refer to.
Otherwise, I don't have anything for drainage, do you guys?
Yeah, the very part to the right, the pink color, that's all there is for 21. And then you get into, get the yellow is all lateral 2 of 68. And then you get to the blue on the left side of the page, and that's the main ditch of 68. So and it's complicated by the fact it's Winnebago and Cassuth.
My assumption is when they created DD 21, that 68 lat 2 was probably a natural waterway, so they just quit, kind of like they did with 11. And then all of a sudden they made 68 and they thought, oh, we'll come to here when 21 was already here, so. Do you guys have anything else for drainage?
Okay.
Right, just wondering if there's anything else. We'll move on to I suppose Scott's not even bothering to be here right now.
I don't think he's here. I think he's out of the site.
I'm sure.
we did 24,
Yeah, this one.
you got it already.
All right, number 24, consider for approval liquor license for Vindy Pub.
I'll second it.
On a motion from Stenzer and a second from Gensel to approve the liquor license for Vinci Pub. All those in favor say aye.
We need to stand up.
Yes, please.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Yeah.
I heard one.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Consider for approval auditors transfers.
Still funny.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
From Stender and a second from Gentle to approve the auditor's transfers. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Consider for approval fiscal year resolutions for fiscal year 2020.
There's five of these.
Good.
I'll make a motion to approve the fiscal year resolutions for fiscal year 2020.
I'll second that.
Motion from Gentle, second from Stenser to approve the fiscal year resolutions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We can do open forum quick.
When I called Ethan, he actually asked if he could come in for open forum, and I told him I didn't know what time it would be. So,
Can't discuss it anyway, so.
Well, we can.
No.
We can.
Yeah, why don't you call him and so he can at least tell us what it's about?
Well, at least
You can just
let's
inform
figure
us.
out if there's a time that we can fit some open forum in.
I can't remember his name.
My signature.
Do we think,
I'm in the head.
Too damn organized for me. Oh, it must be.
you think right at noon? Have open forum again right at noon?
shouldn't take them too long to cut it, but he knows what it's about.
Like they're just
Well,
opposite.
she wants to come
Is
in
that
and
okay?
so.
Let's see here.
We can do right after 6. Just 20 minutes after that.
Yeah, you should have a little time there, I would think.
Yep.
They're right here. Just like this one,
Just ask him if, let's see.
Oh, Princeton.
He said the same thing.
Write it
It's
down
like-
when I get enough. Then I have to have 6:01.
No,
Five, yeah, start 9, and then just 5 minutes.
And then next thing, that's 21.
Can I help?
Ethan, this is the Board of Supervisors. The thing you wanted to talk to us about today, you know, we couldn't do it as listed. You can do it under open forum if we can figure out when it would be allowable for you and us. We're looking at possibly, I don't know where my schedule go again, probably about 10 minutes to 10. Would that work? 9:50? Is there something, is it gonna take some lengthy discussion, or,
No, I don't think so.
okay,
Just tell us what it's about then.
well, we're about ready to start a public hearing right now, so. Why don't you call in to 3412 at 9:50,
Okay,
all right?
9:50.
Yep.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Well, I guess I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for DD 92.
Morning.
Are you ready, Dave?
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Got a motion from Stenzer and
Supervisors.
second from Jensel to
Okay.
open the public hearing for DD 92 annexation of Polk. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion
Looks
carried.
good too there. Doesn't feel like it.
Okay, you wanna go over this one?
Yes, this one's just north of Lake Mills. I attached a drawing there showing the district and showing in red the areas that we're recommending for annexation. It's the usual thing that happens where the watershed follow the property lines instead of the actual watershed. There's several pieces, but it still totals less than 8 acres because a lot of it's lots in town, which are not big at all, typically a third to a fourth of an acre. So we're recommending that these be a part of the district, and we have included those in the reclassification because we have followed the watershed with this recommendation.
Is there any comments from the public on this? Do you have any submitted?
Not in the annexation.
Any questions?
Motion to close the public hearing for DD 92 annexation report.
Second.
Motion from Jensel and the second from Stenzer to close the public hearing for DD 92 annexation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Reclass.
Open that.
Next got a motion
Second.
from Stan and a second from Jens Vogt to open the public hearing for DD 92 reclassification report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
We used the same procedure on this one, where we use the soils evaluation for points. Points are 0 to 100 based on benefit. You appoint an engineer and 2 commissioners who are landowners in the county but do not have an interest in the district. And this report is the result of our meetings with them, going through the formulas that we use to figure this out. This one, there was some information submitted by Steve Benson as far as an area. He has 70 acres and feels that it's tiled out of, basically not into this district. We came up with like 3.8 acres that we think drain into the district, and that's all that we've included in his. I think he's on page 2, yeah. He's the third line down on page 2. His assessment for this $13,000 is $5.92, $1.52 an acre, so very little money involved. And when I talked to him yesterday, I pointed out that if they spent 10 times as much, 130,000, his assessment would still only be $59. So we left it that he was going to talk to his dad, who technically owns the ground, and let me know if he still had questions.
When I explained him his surface water and things like that, he was like, oh yeah. The rest of the farm, he realizes tiles the other way, but his surface water would probably still go to that, so.
Is Dad still alive? Steve?
I swear he said that.
Yeah, he did.
Either that or he's gonna have a seance.
Steve is the dad.
Right,
Oh,
Trevor,
Oh, that's the confusion, because I took it,
no, Trevor's the son who we talked to.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna talk to Steve.
I think I might have called him Steve, because the note had Steve and then the number, and, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'd be awful.
So,
Good point. Not a lot of costs involved. The average for the total we've spread here is $4.12 an acre. This is one of those where there's so many laterals that the actual report ends up pretty thick, but again, the cost for this will just be spread over the main.
Mile and a half.
Looking at the wrong page, straight north of you.
He's
Does
a
that mean
mile,
Norway?
2 miles straight north.
the north side of town, and then up.
Right beside Bob Thompson's to the east.
That's where that new drainage map with all the parcels. Who owns what?
That's coming.
Okay.
One thing a little different than this one than some of them you see is that when it has ag land and residential land, we make the points different. There's so much more runoff with town properties. We typically use ag ground then from 0 to 10 points and residential ground from 20 to 40 points. And that's reflected in here. And they fall within that 20 to 40 depending on how much impervious materials they have, how much house, sidewalk, driveway, that kind of thing.
What do you do with land with trees on it?
If it's in town,
Well, this would be Steve Benson's property. He's still got quite a few trees out there, doesn't he? Yeah.
it's treated as if it could be converted to ag ground.
Yeah, it could be, but.
Yeah, but he's not. So we put points on it based still on the soils, even though the use is trees. The difference in use will come from ag to residential to commercial. We did run into some with forest on them, forest reserve, and those we had to put at minimal points. But I don't think it was on this one. Pretty sure it wasn't.
Would Christmas trees be forest or would that be commercial?
Boy, you're asking tough questions here. I don't know that we've ever run into. On the light end of commercial probably, but it's when there's no hard surface, I'm not sure how we'd handle it.
I don't know how many acres he's got out there.
Yeah.
Is that Benson?
Yeah.
There's only 3 acres of his totally in this district, so the trees and whatever are not even going to this district. Yeah.
I want to think about that though, because we may run into that again. So.
Any comments that were submitted?
Just from the Benson.
Okay, any further questions?
Yeah,
Comments?
like Milford, noticing they have a lot of acres in forest, I would think, wouldn't it?
I don't know
The Ponderosa you talked about? But if it's not in forest reserve program, right?
Then we,
Well, I'm sure,
Yeah,
I'm sure he's not paying regular taxes on that.
it didn't come up as forest reserve
No,
on
there's that many acres here, so.
Must be another district going east or something.
that could
No,
be.
that's in 92.
It doesn't go in alphabetical order.
No, I know it.
Okay.
He's only got,
He's got 37 here.
let me see that.
He's on page 2, he's on page 3. A lot on page 3. He's on page 4. He's got a lot on page 5.
Is that because of different townships? Or, yeah.
It's by parcel.
It's by parcel, yeah.
And then by section and then parcel within the section.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So do you see it now?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
And there is some that say forest reserve. I'm seeing it right now on
Okay,
page
so that is in
5.
this one. I didn't remember it was
Yep.
this one.
Does that show that on Milford?
Yep.
Yeah.
So he is in a program.
So we lowered it because of that.
Yeah. There's even some Saxrud that says that too.
Yep.
Carol Rodberg, Marvin Prescott.
So it was addressed.
So,
Yeah, and we hadn't dealt with forest reserve parcels before, so we called the drainage attorney and got a recommendation on it.
All right, any other questions? Hearing none, motion was. No, sorry. Go ahead. Got a motion from Stender and a second from Jensel to close the public hearing for DD 92 reclassification. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. There it is. Okay, so let's go back. We still have number 20 we could do. I suppose is he gonna wanna be there?
Yeah, he's got all the stuff, right?
Okay, so we can't do number 1. I don't have payroll here, do I?
Yes, I got it here.
How are you this morning? Not too bad?
Well, I just wanted to know about this classification.
Oh, the street's
It's 92.
Oh, it was, okay.
Like the report was sent out yesterday on that.
Appreciate that. The refund. Now you have a copy of it.
Had a few calls on, you know, already on it, so it was easy. It was nice to be able to walk through it that
What is the
day,
daily
so.
classification today? Everything nice on Norway? No.
No, we have
Good.
project.
That's just another underneath.
What comes out of it, yeah, that would keep it from getting some warm. They're staying warm anyway, it comes out that hot.
Just wondering, yeah, just one.
Now I can sign, yay.
When I first got a report of that, the one that Carl's coming in later.
Oh,
Good morning.
good morning.
Just a corner lot.
So we can start standing.
Yeah, we can do payroll here for a few minutes.
Sign.
Good, you?
Because if you didn't get a letter, you're not in it.
Okay, okay, yeah, I know they got one. Okay, I got that.
All right. Not today.
Well, are things quiet at the station with Mel not there anymore, AJ? Are things quiet out there without Mel out there anymore?
Mel, Tulsa,
Okay.
Mel,
Melody,
oh, Melody.
Melody, yeah, I still call her.
You should.
You know, I regret to say this, but I basically close the door on everybody. I just, I ignore them all.
Sometimes that's easier.
Yes. Sounds callous and cold, but it's true.
I'm just gonna steal a corner of the table.
Oh,
I get a lot more work done when I'm not involved in all the
Your own
office
little
chatter
world,
going
yeah.
on all over the place.
I think so. I hope so. Down here. I think so.
Well, I guess we could go back to open forum now. Ethan, you had something you wanted to discuss with us?
Yeah, we're, propose a resolution for like days that the courthouse is closed, that come with weather, that we have to work, and so we get compensated for those days.
Contract's closed. I mean, we've already
It's a
negotiated.
resolution, so we can do that anytime.
Oh, no. We can't talk back to this.
Yeah, since it's not an agenda item per se, all we can do is absorb what you have to say. Unless, and at a future time, we would have to address it through discussions.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to get put on the agenda.
You have to specifically say what it's for, though, on the agenda, okay?
For
Just-
association items.
Just, discuss workers association isn't in the law. You have to say what you're gonna discuss.
what you wanna discuss with us.
Usually it says discussion with possible action on, and then it would have said what you just told us.
But go ahead and explain yourself well.
So there was 25 hours that the courthouse was closed during working hours that we worked. And the employees in the courthouse got paid for not being here. It says right in the handbook, that's how it is. We'd just like to be compensated for those 25 hours because those are days off that they got, or hours off.
I had Martha calling in at 1, but, since it's not technically on the agenda item anymore, we'll just put it on the agenda.
I would say pass the information along to Mike Galloway,
Okay,
and we'll put it on our agenda to discuss next week.
Okay.
So if you wanna set a time for that next week, then
okay.
we'll put it on as such.
Does that make sense though, what we're
We
saying?
can, we can.
They
Do
can't
you
say
understand
anything.
what I'm saying then?
They can't say anything
We
right
know
now.
what you're asking, yes.
Okay.
So,
Do you have a copy of a resolution that you have drawn up, or?
No, not any copies offhand.
Let's just wait for Mike, and we don't want to get the town in trouble right now. So, if you want to call me this afternoon or something, we can set up a time.
What time?
Well, what time works best for you guys as far as your meetings?
Shall I do 9?
During, early in the morning.
Or nine, so first thing, then we'll just do it first thing next Tuesday.
if we don't have anything.
Right, I mean, just,
Yeah. If
The earlier the
I'll
better.
call you.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'll just say 9.
Alright.
Okay.
All right,
sounds good.
thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
What they don't realize is half of us are here. Department heads, we're all here anyway.
How many hours does Hancock close?
What's that?
You guys close the courthouse?
We don't close it.
Oh, so that's the.
That which is, that's been one of our discussions is, should we? Other courthouses do.
We have so
So,
many people
6
working.
feet of snow outside, you guys are still.
we are still there, yeah. Well, Diane Potza had done it one time, and, they had called and they said, it's just not safe, close it. And so she said, we should, and so they did, and then, it just turned ugly, and so Jerry, being our senior member, I don't know, I
Stuff
think
like
some
this.
people had to take vacation. How did that, do you remember how that all played out? I don't remember.
It's just a very slippery slope is what it is, I think some took PTO.
Yeah, I think that was more the issue is,
The ones that-
people didn't want to take vacation time, and they said, well, you're going to.
So-
Yeah, so then it was
So
mandatory.
then are you liable if they don't wanna take their vacation time and then they try to get here and get in an accident? Because they want, they either gotta be here or not.
Right. Well, their theory is, because of how we are, in everybody's office, there is somebody who lives there, that all you need is one person in the office to make it run. So everybody else has to take vacation time, that one person should come in and run the office, so it's just always gonna be open. And so that's how they decided to do it after that day. And that was brought up, I think, just when you got there too.
And even if you close it, you're still gonna have those 1 or 2 people that show up
Mhm.
at the courthouse, and then you they're upset because it's not open.
Open.
And it's-
So we're still kind of beating that one down the road on what we should do, what is appropriate, because I'm like you, what is liability, because the one day, we had some kids they closed school, kids from Cerro Gordo come over, because we were open to get a driver's license and Cerro Gordo wasn't. So now they've just driven, 30 miles.
Common sense has a lot to do with it too. I mean, you'd have liability or you can claim liability on any travel times, really.
So we're still trying to decide what should we do, because people just don't want to take
Is that okay?
vacation day. So, as it stands now, though, we don't close.
We don't have big, nice wide roads. We don't have that possible super chew coming through. We have really narrow shoulders, we have high sides on the roads.
And you
And
think,
that's on the state highway.
and you think this should be an easy decision, either or you're, well, then you get, and I didn't hear this conversation, but, our sheriff's department would have to be there, and our public health
You have
people.
essential and non-essential.
And non-essential, so then we got into that debate. So how's that fair?
That's why they make the big bucks.
You're right, it was the not essential and non-essential, and
Yeah.
so how is that fair, and should they, if everybody else gets the day off, do we give them time and a half?
That's their job.
Yeah.
And by the courthouse not being open, it keeps people off the roads that shouldn't be on there anyway.
Plugging the roads.
Making the secondary roads have to plow around them and.
Right. And, you know, and in the past, we haven't had that many dismal days. This year we did. This year, there were some that you really should not be out in it.
That February one was the one that really,
That was the one that brought the whole conversation back up again.
So your roads opened a lot earlier than that big storm.
Yeah.
I watched all the state plows. Took them a long time to get through our county.
Yeah, well, and I was coming back from the Dominican Republic that day, and we got through your county, at the Hard Rock. I survived.
I spent 2 nights in the.
I didn't use the mini bar, yeah. If it's not sealed, I don't drink it. I'm not saying I didn't have fun.
Sounds like it's a place where you should BYOB.
I don't think they've determined anything on what's going on. Sometimes even said, you know, and they do, they keep it beautiful. Maybe it was pesticides, you know, from spraying the flowers and the grass, some of that. You guys are just nonstop drainage today.
Yeah, literally.
No need for the reminders.
All that stuff you're pumping into our county, look at that, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, you don't even see the whole agenda. It's a couple pages.
Oh, really? There's even more. More drainage? Yes.
Yeah.
One day that I needed to have a short meeting to slow down. We squandered a couple of them in the last few weeks.
Thank you.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
WWB is in Mason City, right? What time?
At noon and 1. It's noon meeting, but it flows into the 1 o'clock. The presentation by Avanza is at 1. WWB.
I almost might be able to make it by 1.
Yeah.
CSS
So I'm
studies.
just thinking if you called in while on your way.
Meetings and, considered skipping it, but Hikes is gonna be there to discuss orphan counties.
Are you gonna have a vote tomorrow?
Should.
We voted last week to pay our bill.
Carl, can you ask me to put it down one?
Turn on your,
Oh.
Yeah, it's print first, not sign like this.
You pointed out.
So I sign it and then I make it grand for this print. Next time when we're out there, let's do it. Just say the generation that will sign our names.
Ouch.
You know, I listened to the radio yesterday, you almost sounded excited for all these drainage hearings today.
I was thrilled. There's something about drainage that just gets me going
Oh, sure.
to it.
Well, in your world, you'd rather
So
have it be a
you're saying-
If you don't hear, I'll
Watershed
show
is flowing,
Yes,
is that at a coefficient of about a 60?
yes, I would say so, yeah.
You don't want that, you don't-
Always believe in drainage. It's one of my favorite topics.
You're more into, in your line of work, it's more of a BS pipeline anyway.
Yes, exactly.
We were talking.
Not enough people got convicted today, now we gotta talk about drainage. It's the next one down on the list.
All right, it's 10 o'clock.
Well, it starts with drainage.
We digress.
It's time for the public hearing for joint
You wanna
DD
approve the
34
payroll claims?
30. Oh, open the public hearing, I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for DD 3430 annexation.
I don't second that.
You got a motion from Dewey and a second from Bryman to open the public hearing for DD 3430 annexation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. Wanna proceed?
Yeah, this is another one of those cases where we were working on a reclassification and we always check the watershed boundary. There was one parcel in Winnebago County where they were left out by the boundary following the property lines. That parcel is shown on the back page in a map. The acres are summarized on the page before it, 26.47 acres to be added. And based on watershed software, we're recommending they be annexed.
All right. Are there any questions on this? Any comments?
Do you feel like this parcel was somehow left off? Like maybe through a split at some point, or?
It'd be unusual for it to be a split when it just followed property lines, but.
Right, because that's a lot of acres for one parcel.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I believe it's one of those cases, just somehow it just didn't get listed. Sometime maybe when it's back when they were entering parcels by hand, that this one just got
They
omitted.
got distracted and forgot.
Yeah,
So what's the gray line there?
that's the old watershed boundary.
All right. Wow, that
Yeah.
drops down.
Yeah. Mhm.
And it wasn't just by parcel.
No. Keep in mind that old boundary was probably drawn from someone riding a horse out through the district. It's amazing how accurate it usually is. It's shocking
For what they
almost,
were new use.
for what they had to use. Almost shocking.
So the watershed is no longer as big as it used to be.
Right. Just as a point of information, we'll get into this with the reclass, but Hancock County just has a little under 97 acres in this, and Winnebago has 1,173
Under the new or old?
new. So I think that changed the percentage probably. You went on previous reports, I think, to come up with.
Before, we were at 91.95%, now we're at 94.31. So Hancock went from 8.05 to 5.69.
So you lowered your levies in
Yeah,
Hancock.
this is where you say you're welcome, right?
You're gonna write me a check, please.
So then
These guys that I paid, you have to write me a check.
We can't go backwards, huh?
This hasn't been approved yet though, so I don't know how you're gonna handle that, I guess.
I think we put 39. And we did 27.
All right, we'll talk more.
Is there any questions or concerns from the Hancock supervisor? Anybody in the crowd? Any questions on this? Okay. Hearing none.
Well, I understand it. This is just correcting something that was an oversight for years.
Correcting something that was done on horseback years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Maybe the earth has shifted, who knows?
It might have gone downhill. We got a lot of water out there.
It all sunk. Well, if that's the case, it should have been before.
I don't know.
All right. Well, hearing, do you want
Close it. Make a motion to close the public hearing for joint drainage district 3430 annexation report.
got a motion from Jens Olden, second from Raymond to close the public hearing for joint drainage district 3430 annexation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now we have the public hearing for DD 3430 classification.
Hey, Richard,
Oh, open
you need to
that.
make a motion to approve that report?
We already did,
They did.
when we were on the teleconference with you.
Okay. I thought it was like 10 people.
That's our approval.
That's your approval?
Different counties handle it differently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for joint drainage district 49, or 3430 reclassification report.
Got a motion from Jens Olden and a second from Ray Hans to open the public hearing for joint district 3430 reclassification. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right.
The Hancock Board just heard my explanation yesterday as far as how we handle the reclassifications.
Thanks.
We did a district for them. Just 1 minute summary, we rely heavily on the soils because that indicates so much about the ground as far as need for drainage. We sometimes have proximity factors. If you're right at the outlet, we do some reduction. Or if you're a long ways from the main, we do some reduction. But it's relatively small reductions just to help those out. For tiling, they have to do to get to the main system. This report reflects the difference in acreage. It starts out with the Winnebago parcels, a little over a page and a half of them for 1,173 acres. And then just a handful of parcels in Hancock County. The costs you see on this report are based on $4,000 in total cost. That's basically the reclassification. For an average of $3.15 an acre. The sheet is a little complicated too. You've been through it a few times, but basically identifies it by parcel, landowner, what quarter is it in, and then it starts with the benefit. So the area benefited are the acres of that parcel that are in the watershed. This one has no town in it, so the points are from 0 to 100 on ag. I mentioned to you before, where there's town, we go less on the ag and more on the town. Each one of these is by itself, so doing that on one doesn't affect anything on this report. This is all ag, it's all 0 to 100. Again, total spread 4,000. Average cost $3.15 an acre. Glad to try and answer any particular questions.
Any questions?
When you say 4,000, what do you mean? Is that just an arbitrary number, or what do you mean?
Well, it's typically just a little bit more than the reclassification cost. Somehow the reclassification needs to be covered in cost, and you typically use the new classification to pay for that. So this is the new classification to pay for the reclass. I don't know exactly what we had in it, but
I don't remember either.
some just under 4,000.
So it ended up probably being a little under $2 an acre.
Right, I believe, more than likely.
$23.50 per acre is about, $1,000 under $2. Any other questions, comments? Nobody submitted anything.
And then this is what we use going forward for your share of costs, for any work done
Yes,
on that.
good statement, yes.
And now we have all the laterals. Before we didn't. So now when we have work just on a lateral, just those people will pay. In the past, everyone has paid.
Oh.
So,
The original classifications had everybody paid no matter where their work, repair work was done. And this is, the drainage code talks about this where it's, hasn't been reclassified and the laterals have not been split out. That this is proper to do it, and split out every lateral.
Now you only pay for it your water goes through.
There you go.
and we did that because of the project that you wanted to do, because it wasn't separated out by those laterals. So now you guys will pay for that engineering fee and not the whole district.
And it changes the formulation for remonstrance too, correct?
I only had those people in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't send letters out until I knew what the classification was.
Right,
Yep.
but if this hadn't been done, then it'd have been a larger area.
Oh, yeah, that would have been everybody.
What often spurs a reclassification is if an improvement is requested on a lateral, and the laterals have never been split out. There's a time you just almost have to reclassify.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none.
I'll make that motion to close the public hearing for Joint Drainage District 3430 reclassification report.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion from Jens Holt, second from Rance to close the public hearing for DD 3430 reclass. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right.
No. Yeah, roughly.
I don't want the rest of it.
You bet. I give you two and just vote pick.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
Juries.
Okay, since we have a little break until our next one, I think we'll go back to payroll claims. Everybody got a chance to look at payroll claims?
I'll second.
Got a motion motion from Stan Reardon, a second from Jensvold to approve the payroll claims. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All of us are signed. Take that time to call. No. Here it is.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Scott, this is the supervisors. We've got this crazy day for drainage.
Yeah.
Didn't know when we were gonna be able to meet with you. We've got like 10 minutes until our next hearing.
Okay.
Do you wanna just discuss, do you have time to discuss anything now, or you wanna set a time to try and come in, or?
Well, I had kind of committed to some things in the morning, assuming that I'd be after lunch, but,
Okay, all right.
so I was kind of shooting for after lunch.
I don't think we're gonna be here after lunch anymore.
Okay, did you have, the Workmen's Association?
They came in and told us already what they wanted, and we put it on the agenda for next week.
Okay,
Besides Heartland,
okay.
You got anything?
Did you have anything other than the agenda item?
Cause I don't have.
Nothing for big news or anything,
Yeah.
I don't really have my bearings about me here, but I had the Heartland permit for sure, and just, normal stuff, I guess.
Is that down in your office?
It is, it's with the payroll in my office, Becky knows where it is, and it's ready to be signed and approved, so I guess if you guys wanna act on that, maybe Becky or Eric can bring that up to you.
All right, we
All
can
right,
take care of
you
that.
didn't have any problems with it, I assume?
But no, I still have a call into them, just wanted to make sure the poles are in the right distance from the right-of-way line, but we have never had a problem with Heartland for that, so, should be good.
Okay,
All right,
well, I don't think we had any road concerns this week, so
no,
we'll,
If you got anything, write them down, send me a text or an email or something, or we can talk about it later.
you know I will.
Yeah, sounds good.
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He said it's ready to go.
Well, maybe I'll just take a quick
All
break.
right.
Yeah, we got time.
Sometimes during drainage, you just gotta get up and stretch.
7th inning stretch. What's that? I did. You know, they're talking about bringing that netting more around, and you think, oh, how often can that happen? But somebody did pass away from getting hit in the head, and then she just got hit in the head. Yeah, so I think there's some merit for making the netting go further around. Well, think about it. Good ball's coming 90 miles an hour. Somebody hits it, you know, it's probably headed back at you 90
One
miles.
sportscaster said though that baseball is third down the list on sports. Golf is worse.
Oh, really?
Now I can't remember what the other one was.
I believe that if you see me play golf, I'd take it.
Football's number 2, soccer is number 4 because we have so many head injuries from heading the ball.
With your head.
Right. You know how many times I hit the ball in college? And I'm perfectly fine.
I'm talking about spectators.
Oh, spectators?
Golf is second. I can't remember what was number one.
And I can believe golf would be, you know, because there's, especially the way I play, you know.
Well, on TV, they made a spot this wide for him to shoot through.
Right. So
I
what
know
else?
no one would dare stand along the fairway when I try it.
One swing is all they have to know for me, too.
You yell for before you hit.
Yeah.
Would you want to net up? in front of you watching the baseball?
That's the bummer part, is I came to see, I wanna, and I'm pretty sure that everyone who's gotten caught is doing this. They weren't even paying any attention, so there they are. Sometimes you have to be responsible for yourself. As scary as that is anymore, that you would actually have to have. But when I go to a game, that's what I'm there to watch. And in fact, I don't even take my phone because I don't want to have anybody, I came to watch.
Yeah.
She looked awful dazed though, didn't she?
Well, and luckily, and we did have, went back home in a small little Lehigh, there was some guys just always around watching the baseball game, and one got hit and hit a fella in the temple, killed him just right then. And that was a high school softball. So, sometimes it's just where you get hit.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's when it's your time, it's your time. I don't know. You can see it's
Whenever
happening.
anybody hollers for, the first thing I cover is my head.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I've just decided all golf courses, when I play, have a wicked wind to the right. And it's a gust when I get up there. I play with a couple buddies, and so I turn more this way. And they're like, sis, shouldn't you line that up a little better? I thought, yeah, this is called compensating.
I was gonna say, I've heard you all the way down the hallway and back again.
You're golfing, you can say that you got a birdie
Yeah.
or an eagle.
Yeah.
Somebody's wearing sandals upstairs. I don't know who it is, but
I bet you have one. And up here in Forest City, I bet you have.
So,
I
yeah.
teed off and I hit one of those low ones that never got up very high.
It's good to hear it one
There
more
was a bunch
time.
of geese out in front of
The
me.
boss is
One
in the
right
house.
in the head.
Good.
Exactly. She can't hide from us.
Just when I lived out in California, and the geese out there, there was so much species out of the greens and the fairways.
That's awful.
Carol, there's hundreds and hundreds of probably thousands of them out there.
Well, I've seen,
Well, I
went with a guy going up to Rice Lake. He got a ground squirrel. Killed it.
Was that right?
Yeah, we gave him a hole in one. He was.
Yeah.
We were on tour kind of over in Chickasaw County, around that area at the golf courses, because that's where my daughter lives. And so we did that. And I was having a lot of fun and it was fine, but I hit the high line on one and then bounced it, but it bounced it back into the fairway, so it was good. And then I did one where I ricocheted off the tree and landed it back into the fairway. So I thought, life is good, And I am a better golfer than that. It was just,
I missed the green badly to the right once. It cost me a bunch of money and it went up in this great big huge tree that used to be next to that tree, bounced around a few times, come out of that tree and landed about that far from the cup.
well, my son was in, was in
The
tournament.
guy that it cost money was a real
Like I said, my son was in a tournament and it bounced off the cart path and, he hit it hard, it bounced off and made it into the, almost like you said, almost into the hole, and he medaled.
Like it too, that way. Yeah.
All right, so I have the,
Oh, are we starting again?
number, where are we at? Number 20. Consider for approval of utility permit for Heartland Power to install overhead electric in Center Township, section 19. I talked to Aaron down there. He had worked with it also. So you guys review it.
We don't talk about these.
Just as the other conditions.
Must not be any.
Yeah, evidently, listening to it.
Sounds like so.
Yes.
I'll second.
Been a motion from Stender and a second from Jensen to approve the utility permit for Heartland Power to install overhead electric in Center Township, section 19. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
The only other thing Scott asked me to put in the minutes he was gonna talk about today is the county engineer's office is accepting sealed bids for surplus equipment due July 26th at 10 a.m. Items include a Rigo large format copier with paper and toner, a Ohaus TR6 RS veg scale, and survey equipment for prism poles, prism pole bipod, 2 prism pole tripods, 10 ranged poles, 2 single prisms, and a triple prism. It says call the office or with questions or to do your sealed bid.
What date is that?
The sealed bids are due July 26th at 10 a.m.
Thank you. Anything else for open forum? Anything more? Now that I got more people in the room, anything else for open forum?
Anything for open forum, Mr. Lewis?
What's that?
Anything for open forum, Mr. Lewis?
No, I thought this was for the drainage meeting.
It is, come on in.
So we were gonna give you a chance to blow the 8 before that if you wanted.
Oh, well, I was looking for a packed crowd here. I don't see any landowners in my drainage district here, so it must either be a bad idea or they all agree.
This is just the reclass part, so you're good. Thank you. The project was a repair, so that went through anyway.
Okay, so we don't need a meeting then?
No. We reclassified it so the right people are paying. And when you did that main tile, so the main tile people would just pay instead of the full district.
All right, what's 10:25, public hearing for joint district 4979 annexation?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for a joint drainage district 4979 annexation report.
And I did second.
All right, I got a motion from Jensvold and a second from Greiman and Hancock to open the public hearing for a joint drainage district 4979 annexation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Hearing is over. You have something on this,
I just point out the drawing again to give you where the annexation is. The easiest way to describe this is it includes part of the high school property. You'll see that like 3 lines of the tracks that they have that portions are brought in. I've viewed this one myself. I wanted to be comfortable with this one. There's definitely ground out there that gets into the district from the high school property. Part of the football field is kind of the line where some of that divides. It's very like in the west end zone. The end zone might get in, but the rest of the field doesn't. It's that close. So total 31.474 acres. Using elevations to come up with the watershed. That's the total we came up with. Just as a point of interest, we slipped up here because we usually put when it's 2 counties, we put above the line and below the line which county it is. If you look at your drawing, lateral 6, right in the middle at the bottom, that falls in Winnebago County. Immediately south of that falls in Hancock County. I know we have that in some drawings. I thought it got on this. So.
any questions on that? Everybody understand what he's talking about there?
Just as a point of reference, the Hancock County is 420 acres, and Winnebago County has 5,445. And we'll get into that a little more in the reclass discussions.
Have we received any comments from the public? Okay. Is there anything?
You can see the football field there with the track. It looks like it has a track around it, maybe, I don't remember. But right there at the very right edge. That'd get you oriented completely.
Little bitty piece up towards the top there too,
Yes,
right next to 24.
yes, and that, I drove that road a couple of times. If you come off the blacktop going west out of town and drive up that, go south on that road, you'll go up, and then drops back down again, and that's the watershed boundary along that line.
Did you have any questions on the reclass?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay,
We're on the annexation.
yeah, I just wondered if you had any questions.
Any other questions or comments on the annexation report?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for Joint Drainage District 4979 annexation report.
Got a motion from Jensvold and a second from Talak to close the public hearing for DD 4979 annexation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
So I'll make a motion to open a public hearing for Joint Drainage District 4979 reclassification report.
I got a motion from Jensvold and a second from Rayons to open the public hearing for Joint District 4979 reclassification. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You want to go through this one a little bit on the reclass?
Sure. This includes the reclass of all the lands in the main ditch, which will get all the parcels in the district. The full reclass includes several laterals and branches. And these are all reflected in the complete reclass, where Hancock County pays on like 2 or 3 laterals that extend down to Hancock. The rest of the laterals they don't pay on. But as I mentioned previously, they do have at least significant acres in this one, 420 acres out of the total of 5,865. So less than 10%, looks like 7 or 8% perhaps. It has some town in it, so we have ag from 0 to 10, residential from 20 to 40, and commercial from 40 to 100. The town area doesn't catch much that has impervious, even like the football field, if that was in, that's not impervious, so they wouldn't be penalized for points on that. But average cost overall for this is $8.52 an acre. That was spreading $50,000. We use our soils again for the basic start of the reclass. because of all the factors that covers. And then do look at proximity again. The annexation drawing shows the main ditch in blue, if you want to get an idea. It's not real long. Most of the district is covered by a main tile or lateral tile. The whole district is covered by the ditch. Thus, everybody's included in the main ditch listing.
Any questions on this report? Or any comments?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for joint drainage district 4979 reclassification report.
Second. Okay, I got a motion from Jens Vold and a second from Rayons to close the public hearing for joint district 4979 classification. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That was the last joint one with Hancock then. All the Hancock for attending. Yes. We have time.
Well, thanks, guys.
This does not happen often.
I've heard that.
Going to New Hampton tomorrow?
What don't you do in your county?
What's that? Going to New Hampton
Don't
tomorrow?
go this fast. I am.
Sure is. Oh, boy.
Have to be
I
in
well,
the-
we wouldn't have probably been able to be here.
Are you guys going to that Avance thing?
What's that?
Are you guys going to that Avance meeting in that 9 o'clock tomorrow, that one? Do you know anything about it?
I don't know anything about it.
What is it?
It's the recruiting thing for getting people.
Recruiting for what, Terry?
That's right.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
I just realized that.
Do you have another one of those reports?
You remember?
Would you leave Anna?
49.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I got it.
Betsy,
Well, sure.
annexation.
Okay, they did say something about that. I'm on
You want the
the,
annexation
I used to be on the empowerment board, but then my term was up, and so then I have to sit out for back, so I got put on NIACOG, and so I'm just brand new on it. Now, because I think he talked about that at the last meeting. No.
When's our next one?
Well, thank you. Good to see you 2 days in a row.
Yeah, I know. I may never have to-
I may not, yeah. No, I hope not. We'll do this
Here,
again.
and so I said, make it look like KFC out there. I said, just crisp it up. So they're gonna crisp it up for me, and I said, hopefully by the time I come back, it'll look better.
You got a new bag, huh? Yeah. We all got new ones.
Yeah, we're gonna be on number 11.
And it would work.
And we've done everything after lunch break.
Everybody keeps it.
We may not even need a lunch break.
I'm not gonna be on council.
Ready, Ann?
Thanks for coming, you guys.
Thank you. Good to see you all. We'll see ya. Bye. Bye. Bye.
See ya.
Come again.
Take care.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I can't make it now either. So I was just thinking if anybody's gonna go, they
Got two young kids, really excitement.
Oh, are they gonna start to work on that drainage ditch in there? It's all clear to go?
Yes.
They do it whenever they work it into their schedule.
I ended up with soils being so different. One
That
person
ditch is low in water as it's ever been.
clarion soils are like my,
It's
a lot
right,
of it is on
and
soils.
they-
Yeah, a lot of it's on soils.
it's their schedule.
It really is.
It's their schedule. I don't get to boss them around. I don't know.
I'm willing to hear you
Some of the
more.
soils are just.
I think they would just, I think they would just turn around and walk back out.
Okay.
No.
See you, Riley.
The legislature's attempted to pass that, but it didn't get very far.
Right.
So everybody keeps trying to come up with a better system. Like there should be some way to work this out, but with the code just giving us.
I was
a
talking
little
to Rick
instruction,
earlier.
it just says 100 points.
I don't have a remonstrance at all.
That's,
So the question was, if,
it served its
say,
purpose.
lat 12 had a remonstrance, what do you do with the rest of the
That
project?
would be a good thing.
What do you do with 13 and 29? You can't really go ahead with them because they dump into 12.
Bunch of heads together and come up with that.
So I didn't really know.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
It's something to think about.
But if the rest of them do it, and they shot that water into.
Right, but the remonstrance would take precedence. So then would you even consider doing the rest of it? I would.
Adverse effects to the guy, 12.
Yeah. Or if 11, because that's the one that comes off the ditch. If they decided no, well then, what? I don't know. I do not at this time have a remonstrance. So, and I gave everybody the same information. Anybody who's called or come in, I told them what I needed if they wanted a remonstrance. See how I did
That's wonderful.
I know.
I'm impressed. What do you do, just round?
Like one ahead. It's nice.
Just tell them, Kevin, there's a long, we should have a fundraiser and have, definitely races their own fountain. Just put a hose getting into swirl. Everybody buys a duck.
What do we win?
Drainage map.
Beaver ears.
Esterville actually does that in the river.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They've done that down here too, Demo Park before.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, here we'd have to do it in pieces. We'll have heats and then you qualify for the next one.
All right. All right, for the big prize.
We don't have, I'd draw it out a little bit. Like 10 laps and then the final will be 25 laps.
Oh, jeez. Sounds like a
With
lot.
refueling.
Refueling, yeah. Tanker flying.
Throw it up. Maybe we could throw a couple carpets or just.
We'd have to make a pit lane.
I'm for that.
Yeah,
That meeting at 11 o'clock.
this get way too complicated.
Okay, the DDs, the corner.
Whatever, yeah.
That's all looks good.
That's me.
Okay,
That
that
sounds
sounds fun. Yeah. Because we just
I
have
go
to.
for bullets.
That was what Kevin knows, is you keep that thing running, I get less phone calls. And I get less phone calls.
Yeah.
Start under the Jeopardy thing. Yeah, here they come. The crowd's packing in.
Different crowd.
Are you guys here for DD 5?
No.
No, the next one, okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Hi. Oh, hi. How are you, neighbor?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Okay. Here we are again.
Here to figure out this whole drainage thing?
Yeah.
We'll get the letter.
Yeah, they had so much to learn. Our neighbors, and we're gonna come down and request. It's so bad, with our way, the silt is so full and that it takes forever for the water to go back in because it's so full. It used to be cleaned up so bad. We were gonna come down and request it. And it's up there going to Gary Larson's. Remember Gary Larson's
Yeah.
north of us there? That creek. No,
That one starts like in D.
and the headwaters is even.
Okay.
It needs it. Oh my God.
Now they're gonna start blocking it.
Have you guys gone up that way like this?
No.
Our water feeds in.
The trees, we don't farm around our place and.
But 21 is
Your
just
dad's
right
right
here.
here. I met
That
your
goes-
dad
shouldn't be.
going that way.
Well, that one, that actually starts, that drip.
It's not like they could.
They could generate
And-
that ditch,
Yeah.
but it's
Uh,
a different district.
yeah,
Did that go in?
We have a-
The Cassuth County.
yeah.
The one on the county line
Yep. It's actually, it's on our land.
comes up through Badges.
Yep, it starts at our
At the
80
Larson
and
place. That's Cassuth County. Where we are.
They don't have any time.
That goes to our
They
okay.
don't have any
Comes
time.
out with this up.
14 and 15, I'm just looking at that
They
myself.
cross it, feed them.
All right, let's start that.
Minnesota.
No,
And we're responsible.
You have to do 11 and then you can consider it.
Out and get them trees
I
out.
guess it should have been time.
And I don't think a lot of people.
Well, because it can just run into each other. I mean, you can just keep doing it then.
Because our water goes
Because
down.
it's, you have to have number 13 before you get to 14 and 15.
But it needs, it's so bad. We need to send somebody up there.
Why do we have an opportunity on the road?
I guess we haven't gone and looked
Yeah.
at that grid.
Just in.
Yeah,
the
some
Yeah.
people go by dealers. And then they'll go across the bridge, and go across the bridge just to look down.
Because we have to have a bid letting.
Yeah, but we can't
You know,
stop
my
it.
those guys,
So,
Well, we're gonna take bids though, because it's so much money.
Yeah, we have to discuss the scope of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still gonna do it.
I have written down at home. Years ago, we had, you know, Marshall Woods had never been.
Oh, yeah. It's just AJ. They're not here for that.
Like 2000 or something, or 99 or something.
They're not even.
Doing 5, right? Okay,
That was over.
Chris said.
okay.
I'm gonna get that door closed, it's getting a little loud out in here.
Never start.
Okay, now you can go. I'm all downloaded, ready to go.
5 basically starts at the east.
No,
end of
dear,
Forest
I'm
City
having
and
to
heads the northeast.
Take the 1 million
HRN.
millibyte that I've got on there, put it on here so I can make room for listening to you talk more about drainage. That's what's going on here. That's why I brought this contraption.
No, we still got a few minutes.
Oh, shoot.
Well, you can always watch it on YouTube.
It's not the same.
Come on, you know better than that.
Good fly, but
Come on, you know better than that, seriously. My office? Really? AJ, how's the World Cup? AJ, what's the radar?
Yes, I have.
Oh. You say it, doing a solar project, yeah, back there.
Well, that clock says 9:50. So, we're up to public hearing for TD5 annexation report. Open that one, Mike.
I'll make a motion to open, DD5 annexation report.
I'll second the motion. A motion from Stanzer, a second from Derby to open the public hearing for DD5 annexation report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right.
This is a situation again that came up when we were working on reclassification and establishing the watershed boundary. There's some parcels just north of town that should be in and weren't. Total acres is just a little over 13. We're recommending that they be annexed, and that would mean they pay their fair share of any work on the main. I'm glad to try and answer any questions.
I'll ask if there's any questions on the annexation report from under DD5. You guys understand that then? Good. I guess I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for DD5 annexation report.
Second.
A motion from Derby and a second from Jennifer to close the public hearing for DD5 annexation report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Make a motion to open DD5 reclass.
I'll second the motion. Motion from Stetser, and a second from Derby to open the public hearing for DD5 reclassification report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I'm just giving you lateral 5 here. The only cost that would be go on the main is the reclassification, which is pretty insignificant in this case. But there was debt on lat 5. We spread a cost of $52,000 on that one. And these are the results that we came up with. The report itself for the full reclassification is quite a book, just because there are so many laterals. Just a ton of them.
42.
Is that what it is? I couldn't remember. Okay. 42 laterals, so the report gets quite lengthy, but again, the only significant cost incurred at this point is in lateral 5.
And we did find out that the classification has been wrong for years. There was a project that was going to happen, and so they made the classification based on it, and the project did not happen. So for many years, people have been paying into lat 5 that shouldn't have been.
Dish that was on the map that isn't.
Yes, yes. So it's a good thing we've gotten it done. It will help in the future.
That's a very good point.
There was another lateral, I had a gentleman come in and a repair had been done a few years ago. And he and another landowner are the only ones that paid, and now it's correct. It has the right people in it. He was very happy with that, and he doesn't need to come in today because he was glad. So I feel like it was a benefit to do this.
Yeah, there's so many acres, I can't believe there was, this looks like one that should have been less than $2 an acre for the reclass.
Did you have any questions on it, Doug?
My question has to do, I think some of the land that we own was part of the one that was changed, and wondered, is that effective as of, at what point?
Today.
As of today, so this project that was just completed,
You will not pay.
we won't have to pay for the part that gets reclassified. I mean,
It'll be based on today's report. I haven't billed it yet, and so I'm basing it on what today is.
Okay.
So you only get that one parcel, I think, that's in there still.
Yep.
Okay.
This is for the meeting at the ditch. You say,
Will we get a report from this too then? Will the landowners get a, no? Okay, you
can
guys
get
get
one.
the water yet?
Yeah, you can get one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just interested in the lateral 5, or
Do
did
you
you?
want to clarify?
Yeah, just the lateral.
The whole thing's a bit thick, but
Yeah. No, that's the one.
Yeah, you went down to 2.249.
Is there any questions on this one? Further questions?
My other question was about the project they just did, that Elliot put the tile in and it's completed. I assume this is the whole dollar amount. Does that mean it's the completion of all of this, or how does that?
We haven't got
finish?
the completion report from that engineer.
And I don't have a bill from him yet, so it won't get billed out this year.
Okay, so once it all gets,
So it'll be next year's thing. I did get a note from Andy. I don't know if he copied everybody on it or not, I don't recall, that he does feel like it's done. It was done well, and he recommends to approve the payment for it. So I just haven't seen anything from Elliot.
I know there was a lot of confusion on that one, but that would have had to been done anyway. That whole tile was shot, and so it wasn't getting fixed. That's how come Elliot dug that ditch. But it ended up costing cheaper than what it would have if we would have bid it out from the beginning.
The tile got repaired cheaper than it would have, in a sense, and then also it benefits from the ditch that he dug that didn't cost the district anything. So the drainage there has been improved.
yeah, hopefully in the long run. My question was about the options, about the option of putting the tile or using the ditch that was already there.
We couldn't do that.
But when I talked to Terry on the phone, and he basically said that
NRCS.
the NRCS didn't really give that option, because that's kind of what I think a lot of us thought, why didn't we just, once it was there, leave it, but
Makes sense, don't it?
yeah.
Any other questions or comments on the last 5? Let's see where we're at here. This DD5 reclassification. Okay, none. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for DD5 reclassification. A motion from Kirby and a second from Hendry to close the public hearing for DD5 reclassification. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And we got another minute or so until the next one.
Oh.
No, that's 11:30. Oh, the one. Okay. Now then, the only information, nothing, that was the 11. I have received nothing. Right, this is the time. This is all everybody has. And we are D21, which I looked at Algona.
Next.
And then about 50. We agreed to, my husband took care of it, he was down one. Yeah. So this is the one, this is, yeah, D21 is west and northwest. Yeah, this is the one, D21. So it's coming up.
Best thing in this report is the map. As far as I'm concerned, get yourself oriented.
I don't know.
See how it breaks down between 21 and... Oh, okay. Okay.
It already opened up there.
Oh, had I? Oh, okay.
I didn't.
All right, so it's 11 o'clock. Public hearing for 21, District 8, Part 136, DD 68, 136, Plat 2. Now, we communicating on this one.
Chris, hi.
How are we communicating with Sue on this one?
Oh, we're supposed to call them, sorry.
Call this number and then they'll transfer that over. Okay.
Sorry.
Auditor's office, it's Christy, may I help you?
Yes, this is the Winnebago County Supervisors. We're supposed to have a joint hearing with the Cassuth Supervisors.
Okay, let me put you on hold, please.
Try and resist the temptation to get up and dance.
I'm guessing this isn't your radio station.
Frequency sounds the same.
Do we dare speak?
Hello, is anybody there?
Yeah, we're here. We got 5 supervisors and Marge, our drainage clerk.
Okay, we have 3 supervisors here, and Carla, our auditor. We got Chris running the crowd. So I guess we're ready to open up the public hearing for. Oh, I got to cover it up now.
I'll make a motion to
36.
Go ahead.
open the public hearing for Drainage District 21 Joint DD 68-136 and DD 68-136 Lat 2 Repair Project.
I'll second the motion if that was a motion.
That was Roger?
Yep.
Okay. All right, I got a motion from Jens Fold and a second from Roger to open the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor on this end?
All in favor, and this end, we actually have,
Stecker has asked that he went down and talked to the attorney about that.
All right. Okay, so public hearing is open. We've got our engineer here. Rick is gonna explain some things.
Okay, this is for the preliminary engineering report, and there's 3 different segments of ditch here that have been included in the report. The very west portion is basically the DD 68-136 main outlet ditch. It's only about a half mile long as far as the part in this report. And then from that point, it goes basically east into Winnebago County, and that's lateral 2 of 68-136. And then the very east end of this report is a little over a quarter of a mile, which is Winnebago DD 21 open ditch. We had people in the field checking the conditions of these ditches, and the siltation varied like it usually does in these, anywhere from half a foot to 3 foot of silt. And our recommendation is to clean out every stretch of this. The good news part of this is there's a lot of acres sharing in the cost, so that the cost per landowner is quite small. First cost estimate we did was the outlet ditch. There's basically the north end of that is Minnesota. That came out a whopping average cost of 71 cents an acre. Again, that's because it's a short ditch and there's over 15,000 acres helping pay for it. The second cost estimate was for that lateral 2. That's the part that runs mostly through Winnebago County. Goes from the outlet ditch over to ditch 21. That cost came out total over 91,000, but again, there's a lot of acres involved, about 7,900 acres. So the cost for that stretch, average-wise, is $11.60 an acre. The last cost estimate we had was for DD 21. That falls totally within Winnebago County. It's quite short, just over a quarter of a mile. Not that many yards of dirt. The acres have dropped off some to cover this. There's 6,530 acres involved in ditch 21 for an average cost of $3.73 an acre. Because of the shortness of some of these and the number of acres involved, this is some of the lowest costs we've seen per acre. It definitely is silted in. There's outlet pipes that need repair. And since this is a repair, you're basically mandated to go forward with it. And part of what you'll be talking about today then is setting a hearing date to do, or setting a letting date for these cleanouts. That's a quick summary of the project.
So I know this is Chris, one of the landowners said that this ditch, the lat 2 maybe was cleaned not too long ago. Does anybody else remember that getting cleaned? Not the whole thing.
Right, they had put some, they had taken like a bridge out or something on LV's place, Max's place, and then they put some culverts in.
Okay.
And that was just a short area, it wasn't a
Cleaned on
park.
the east side.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's
So
all.
so now we're cleaning the whole length, not just a little bit
Right.
of it.
Right.
So that's why that's
And
going
going
to
way
be
to
so
the
much.
West Creek,
Right.
Yes.
And then
Cassuth County.
Yes.
right. And then I also, in having some phone calls from different landowners, I have noticed that at least 4 landowners are paying into lat 2, but they're not paying into the main ditch, which I believe then that the classification isn't correct. Would Cassuth County, we can't vote on it today, but would you consider classifying DD 68 so I have the right landowners?
You can annex them in.
Well, but I don't even, they're in it, but my classification doesn't show them. My current classification doesn't show them in it. But they're in the lat 2.
in the last, but you can bring them into the other one with just annex them in.
Yeah, lab two, sunlight would go.
The problem is they're in, but they haven't been assigned benefit.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I wouldn't know how to charge them.
then you gotta reclassify, don't you, Rick?
That's what I would say. That's the safest way. And if this is like any other district, it doesn't have to be a very old reclass that it should be done again.
Yeah.
And particularly when you find situations like this. We've got the cost of reclassifications down so much, it's been very worthwhile here the last few years.
I've got no problem, but we have to do that outside of this meeting.
Right, I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
Okay. Yep, sounds
Okay.
good.
So I'll set up a teleconference with Marge to do that maybe next week.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any more questions on this public hearing repair project?
I need the name of the supervisors in Cassuth County, because I don't have their names.
You want to say your names over there for the record?
Yeah, we got Casey, Stecker, Loss, Jarks, and our chairman.
Okay, so I have Roger, Casey. I need your whole name so that I can write it down.
You want the whole name?
What's Roger's last name?
Jarks. D-J-A-R-K-S.
And then I have a Casey. Who's that?
Galen Casey. Galen. G-A-L-E-N. C-A-S-E-Y.
Okay. And then I have a Stecker.
Kyle. A-Y-L-E. S-T-E-C-K-E-R.
Okay, and then I have Loss.
Ross.
I was thinking the same. D-O-N-N-I-E-L-O-S-S.
Johnny Loss. Okay.
Plath.
Who?
Jack Platt.
C-L-A-T-H-E.
What's Marge's last name?
Mergen.
What's Mark's last name?
Mergen. M-E-R-G-E-N.
All right,
Thank you.
that should be it. Thank you. Is there any more questions on your end of it?
Yeah, we're at outlet's end. Is that good enough then? We're not creating a puddle somewhere.
We're taking it all the way to the Minnesota line. We may try and get some informal permission to just dip a little bit into Minnesota even, that rather than complicate it with trying to do hearings with them. But we'll at least get it that far. And from what we've checked, I believe the highest ridge we'd be against right there is like 6 inches. So hopefully the flows would take care of that much.
Well, if you got a good enough flow, it's gonna wipe it out anyhow.
There you go. There you go. Yep.
So, and according to your estimation, there's enough flow to take care of Minnesota, I guess is what I would ask.
Yes, correct. Large enough area involved here, it should take care of that.
Good.
A couple of us have to take off for another meeting. If there's nothing else, can we close this hearing and then pause for a minute so we can vote on one other issue that we need to vote on before we take off?
Yep, we'll just make sure, is there any more questions on this end, on this? Go ahead.
When you go up into Minnesota, have you guys driven up in there and see all the trees in the creek on the Minnesota side? It's loaded with trees right in the creek. Now, we're responsible to clean some of that out like a mile or two because our water feeds up into there. And is there any possibility eventually getting some of those trees out of that creek?
So the question from the crowd out here is the trees up in Minnesota and should be going after those trees and getting them cleaned,
At least a mile or two would help.
like a mile or two.
Yeah, we're responsible to help a mile or two from Iowa because our water feeds up there.
There was some kind of agreement?
Yes, there's an agreement. It was at the courthouse in Bloor, when we had cleaned out the creek on, Hebron County.
Nice.
In Cassuth County, section 13. My brother was a supervisor up there, or commissioner up there, and he brought down this stuff from the courthouse. We are partly responsible for the first couple miles, and I've got paperwork at home that says that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he dug at all the files at the
So
courthouse.
did you guys hear that then?
And Roger
Yeah,
Jarks would
okay.
remember that. He was at that meeting.
All right.
In Minnesota, we've had very poor luck at getting them to comply with anything that we wanted them to do, and it takes 5 years to get them to move.
But we're responsible to clean some of that ourselves from Iowa.
It's worth at least a communication with them, I think. See where we can get. We've had the same result. It's very difficult to work that out.
They don't want our water.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, they're gonna get it whether they want it or not.
That's right.
They just as well
It's
have to be
going.
able to flow through and get out of their area too. But,
Well, if you make a big enough mess, they'll have to deal with it.
yeah, there you go.
That's the only way I see Minnesota doing anything, is you force them to do it.
But I think we can do this project and then go
Yes.
after them.
There's so little silt right where we're outletting that I feel we're fine. We actually checked that. So it would help more in the future if we could take it further, but this project still is very
Try not to
worthwhile.
hold up this project and just pursue that going
There you
forward.
go.
Sounds good over here.
All right.
All right.
Should that be part of our discussion on next week's meeting? Going forward?
That's up to you guys.
How about you guys? Do you want to discuss that next week then?
Whatever you guys want, you're good.
Yeah, all right.
All right,
Okay, we'll put it on the agenda to discuss with that other.
Okay.
all right, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for DD 21, joint DD 68-136, DD 68-136, Lat 2 repair project.
This is Roger. I'll second your motion to close the hearing.
All right, I got a motion from Jensvold and a second from Jarks to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All ayes on our end.
All eyes on our end.
All right, so that ends the public hearing. Consider for approval the repair project for said district. So we've got all the specifications. Are you guys comfortable moving forward with this then?
Yeah,
All right,
you're these counties.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve DD 21, joint DD 68-136 and DD 68-136, Lat 2 repair project.
Decker, I'll second that.
all right. I've got a motion from Jensvold and a second from Stecker to approve the DD1, or DD 21 joint district 68-136 and joint district 68-136 Lat 2 repair. All those in favor say aye.
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 All eyes on this end.
All ayes on this end, all right. Set bidding letting date for said district.
We need a little time to finish the plans and specs. The plans are pretty much ready with the report, but we need a little time, and then we need 2 to 3 weeks probably for proper notice to contractors and the contracting agencies. I wrote down the possibility of August 6th. We could make it a little before that if it'd be beneficial.
August 6th is what you're most comfortable with?
I'm most comfortable with it having enough time, and then,
All right,
yeah.
August,
Yeah, Mark says August 6th is all right, or do you not? You can get her done. Okay. We're fine with August 6th.
10 o'clock or something. You want to do it 10 o'clock, okay with you guys?
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
you need to make a motion for that?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to set the bid letting date for DD 21 joint DD 68-136, DD 68-136 Lat 2 repair project for August 6th at 10 o'clock.
I'll second your motion, Bill. This is Roger.
Got a motion from Jensvold and a second from Jarks to set the bid letting date for said district. 2168-136 and 68-136/2 for August 6th at 10 a.m. All those in favor say aye.
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 All eyes on this end.
And I think all eyes on this end. That should be it on that part of it. That's all we have with you guys, I guess.
Would you guys want to come here for that bid letting, or do you want to do a teleconference again?
At 10 o'clock, they have their meeting.
Yeah, we'll do a teleconference.
Okay. I thought you guys did your meetings on Monday, I'm sorry.
All right. I think that was it then.
Thank you.
We'll look forward to next week.
You bet. Talk to you then.
Yep.
Bye.
You do your thing. Push the drop downs. So the two items on the agenda would be those, addressing those four landowners.
Yes, so we'll approve a reclass and appoint an engineer for that, and working into Minnesota, and then
Discussion.
reclass 18.
Possible action on Minnesota
Yeah, yeah.
agreement. Well, I didn't go too bad.
Everybody okay with that? Nobody said anything?
Do you have one of the reports for that one?
I would hope if we get the bid letting going by then, we might get something done yet this year. Over the winter anyway.
Yeah, go as well as they can.
Get the ditch cleaned out, and all we gotta do is make that main tile in 21 bigger.
Do you have one, Terry? 18.
I did
got the
before
drift,
somewhere.
Okay. Sure.
Maybe we should wait for $7 coin.
I know I have.
Okay.
No, because everything else is out of whack too.
Okay. Because I have.
Yeah, that's true. Then all of a sudden, people think that they can use the prices of everything without using market. Supply and demand.
Basically.
Thrown out the window.
Exactly.
I got 3 different.
Never mind, too confusing.
Oh, no, we gotta have.
Gotta be like a third grader, and they don't get it.
All these.
So far, I've stacked mine up.
Are you guys saying for the 11?
What I draw here.
Oh, it's dry.
Anything different, what we think?
No, it's the 18th that was part of it.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're doing something with the salt.
Well, we tried.
Well, we're glad about that today. Has anybody said anything about the water problem down there by the town dump? We're running. It's so bad.
That's been talked about many times.
I know.
Which one is that? Is that lat
So
10?
bad.
Lat 8, is it?
Oh, lat 8?
Lat 8? I'll have to look again.
Here it is.
Goes up past Trent Schmidt's.
Lat 8.
I think that's railroad tracks, goes right through it. Find the railroad tracks, goes right through it, the town dump.
Is it
We
that
were
first
gonna
house?
have,
It's so bad. Everybody around it that has lived there. We live in a century farm. It has never been like that. Our farm was right across from us. It's so bad. It's never been like that in the last 3 years. It's terrible.
there's a lot of places that have got water that are standing that's never stood there
Well,
before.
that is really hopeful.
Well, and another thing too is pattern tiling. The tiles aren't big enough.
The main tile is overwhelmed, and that lat 8 comes in, and there's like a 36 inch that's there. And the lat 8 comes in at the very bottom of it, so there's 3 feet of water standing over it when it comes in.
Oh, my.
And so it's gotta fight that head pressure to get out. The only time that I've ever seen that ground up there start to drain is when the main tile gets down where it's only running about half full.
Yeah.
When it's running completely full, it just doesn't, we're gonna go, Derek Yankee has a camera. I don't think he's been out there yet. I've talked to him about it. He's gonna go out there and scope it. Dwayne David's thinking there's possibly a block where 8 goes into the main tile.
Well, yeah. it's
Well, yeah,
terrible.
no, that's his too, and,
I know an intake was taken out when they put all that dirt in and redid that road going east, A16. An intake was taken out and covered up. That doesn't help any on that corner there.
there's another intake there now.
Yeah, but at that time, we had a couple of them.
But,
But you see, that,
I'm sorry.
it starts out, it's an 8-inch tile.
I can hear
going
you
up behind
thundering
trench
around
beds
it.
there, into the old dump there. That's an 8-inch tile, and then it goes to a 10-inch, and then it goes to a 12-inch. And an 8-inch tile, if I remember right, the 12-inch has just about 3 times the flow capacity, and that 8-inch tile's under enough pressure, it's keeping that 12-inch full. So, I mean, it seems to be flowing.
So let's see what the
But it
cameras
just-
say when they take pictures. See if
But it'd be
they see
interesting to see if there is a block there.
Because if
without
there's
having to-
something we can do about it.
The only way you can
doing
dig it up and look at it is to tear out the new blacktop, and we really hate to do
Oh, yeah,
that.
yeah.
Especially to find out there wasn't a problem, because it seems to be flowing.
And that blacktop is really nice. You guys got that good, you nailed it.
Yeah,
It's
that-
probably one of the best ones in the state of Iowa for secondary, for
Oh,
blacktop.
isn't it amazing how well the shoulders are holding up and stuff?
There's something. That's
Yeah.
quite a road.
Yeah. no,
Even the
it's-
Minnesota people are bragging about it.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And that's something.
Yeah, yeah.
The truckers that come down from
So
Minnesota.
you get up into Minnesota on, going up through Frost up there, and then you get to Iowa, it's almost like going on vacation.
They're redoing the frost one.
Are they gonna redo that up there now?
They're gonna put a whole inch on it, won't that really help?
Yeah.
They are
They
a
need to
whole
rip
inch
it up.
now.
Well, seriously, that's what they're gonna do.
Really?
They
And
call
north
it a
of
power patch?
Well, that's
That's all.
so broken up north.
That's
of
all
Frost
Right,
that-
but then the end of June or the first part of July is supposed to be done. Also going from Riceland to the interstate.
They got all that traffic going up the ethanol plant, up in Winnebago.
Yeah,
All kinds of traffic.
yeah.
We've got a lot of grain coming down from the north. too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, we do appreciate the shoulders that were put on though, because the machinery, at least we can get over.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
I had to
it's-
find the driveway otherwise.
Yeah.
To let
You
it
come with
out.
an 8-row head on the corn, on a corn head, I'd be going down the road, but now that you got the shoulders on, I can get way over without finding a driveway to let somebody by me.
So thanks for doing that.
Yeah, that's a wonderful road.
They did a nice job out there. They
We do appreciate it.
That's one of the nicest blacktops.
It is. We hope it stays that way. Now, we got all that big equipment coming across for the windmills, and we hope it holds up.
With all the farmers that are driving on the shoulders, when they're getting over and stuff, and, really, I am amazed. That shoulder hasn't rutted out. It's almost
No,
like
it's
it's
holding
cement.
That's solid.
It is.
I walk that once in a while, yes.
They put a lot of dirt and a lot of fill in there.
Back that it lives.
Yeah, the company that did that is the company we should get to do every.
No, they said they weren't gonna.
Weird.
You don't know who did it, do you?
Oh, yeah, right.
What's that?
Did the asphalt work?
Yeah, it sits in the corner.
What's that?
Never been in it.
Oh, and you go on notices? Okay. Oh, no.
It's overloaded.
Okay.
I'm not impressed with that Highway 9
We're
project.
done, I think.
When they
Okay.
did that, they added.
Thank you.
And then
you
keep in contact
Oh.
with Bill
Next to the shoulder,
and
and so now everything goes like this till you get
Good.
when we
If there's anything we can do about that, we sure want to do it.
Oh, that's horrible.
Wayne's losing a lot of acres.
And I asked him about it, he says, wow.
All kinds of acres right across.
And he.
Thank you for your help.
She didn't do
And there's
it
open
right.
ditching,
They put drainage.
their outlet is underwater, or is under, in the center.
Mostly in the.
And David has asked me to go down there. I said, I didn't think
Wow.
so. That's who we were.
So we're gonna get.
Anyway,
Yes.
yes, appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much. Yes. No, I understand that. Do you want me to call you? Yes. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just ready for a breakdown.
What's that? That's the one that started.
Larson.
Oh.
295.
We've been researching on how we can work that with the Corps and what you have to do to do some straightening. We're gonna be coming back soon asking for permission to clear some of the trees down below. We have 11 essentially ready to bid. Our hangup is that we need to get something worked out with the Corps as far as the lower outlet area. We don't think we have to yet, and we still want to be able to use the new ditch you're constructing to mitigate the straightening of the ditch down below. So we're very close on the plans for the.
How about the wetland?
We don't have them all back yet. We usually send a second letter usually when we get closer to try and get more of them. It's going to be interesting how NRCS rules on that, because there were wet areas with water standing, and we couldn't get through a track four-wheeler, and there's a main tile right through it.
And it's always where the tile is.
Yes. Yeah. We do know that we could not use tile on the lower end of that project because it would, to go the size we need, it'd be out of the ground. So we're preparing cost estimates for the minimum ditch and then extending the ditch next road. We're gonna probably bid all that and choose.
Past shutters.
That is one wet district with shallow tile and.
This spring, all the rain we had, all of a sudden now it's down.
Yeah.
Been that rain for a while. Well, it's 11:30. Yeah, on my second page. Public hearing for DE18 flats 11, 12, 13, and 29 improvement projects. This is a public hearing. I've got a motion from Stenzer and a second from Jensvold to open a public hearing for DE flats 11, 12, 13, and 29 improvement projects. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The hearing is open. You want to go over some things?
Sure. The report you have covers the laterals as mentioned there. The very last page of the report shows the plat book page for Logan Township and where it falls in that area. To get yourselves oriented, you can see Scarville there just below it. The second to the last page, the fold-out page, shows much better where these laterals are with respect to each other.
Do you have any more copies of this?
Yeah, I got quite a few. To get yourselves figured out what's going on here, that second page that folds out is very helpful to me. You can see that lateral 11 starts out and goes basically north and then northeast. And before you get to, well, you only get about halfway through lateral 11 and then the lateral 12 takes off. And that goes north. And then coming off of 12 is lateral 13 and lateral 29. Now the report ends up kind of lengthy because we've broken out each of these laterals separately. And we figured a half-inch coefficient and a 1-inch coefficient. For anyone who hasn't been exposed to that term, half-inch drainage coefficient is a system that will carry half an inch of runoff off the ground in 24 hours. And the 1-inch coefficient will carry 1 inch of runoff off in 24 hours. Many of the old systems were only 1/8 of an inch coefficient. Very, very limited as far as capacity. We talk about the existing system on page 2 of the report, and we mentioned that no major improvements have been done in over 100 years. And the paragraph goes on to explain that nearly the entire old system is only 1/8 inch drainage coefficient, or about 1/4 of the minimum they recommend today. Half-inch is the minimum they recommend today. We've seen a lot of 1-inch coefficient systems go in simply because for 20 to 30% more cost, you get 100% more drainage. but that decision can fall back on the landowners.
So an eighth-inch coefficient in a properly operating system, and that's the key right here, probably, is it properly operating? It takes 8 days to get rid of an inch of water.
Correct. It's a great summary. Good way to put it. Very limited. The worst I've ever seen is the 1/16th coefficient, but this ranks right down
Which is
there.
not what on DD 11.
Yes, yes. So, page 2, we start out with the estimates, and we do lateral 11, we do lateral 12, 13 and 29, all for ½ inch, and then we do the same thing for 1 inch. Fairly expensive project. It's hard to summarize these costs, but the total cost of all of those added together is a little over $1 million, or about $1,000 an acre average. Now, that'll vary some because some people, like the people in the upper part of 11, or even on 11 at all, shouldn't have to pay for 12, 13, or 29. I did look at the possibility of not doing the upper part of 11. As you can see on that second to last page, the upper part of 11 really would only benefit 11. If you're not going to do at least the lower part of 11, you probably do not want to do 12, 13, or 29. So doing just the lower half of 11, which everybody would share in, I reduced the cost. It went from $1,076,000 to just over $900,000, or got the average cost per acre down to about $845 an acre. Now, we've seen some of these done at these prices.
What page is that on?
It's not.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say.
I just, after we submitted the report,
All right.
the question came up. I talked to a
So give me
landowner.
those numbers again.
Okay. Based on ½ inch coefficient, doing all of 11, the total came out $1,076,000. Eliminating the upper part of 11, and that was $1,001 an acre. Eliminating the upper part of 11 would get it down to $909,000, or about $845 an acre.
45, you said?
Yes. And I'm hoping we can do some things to get some cost savings, bid at the right time of year, give the contractors plenty of time to get it built. With this poor coefficient, even ½ inch would do wonders for them, and 4 times the drainage. So this would be one where if it goes forward, we'd recommend that you probably bid a ½ inch and a 1 inch, and have the landowners notified to come in following the bid letting to talk through it, see what they want to do. We've done that in many projects. It's worked out well. They often go up to the 1 inch, but again, sometimes it's so much of an improvement, even going to ½ inch, they feel that's adequate. So landowner input is very important on that. This is an improvement, so the possibility of remonstrance comes into effect here.
What's that?
Yes, I'll explain that. That's a good question. The board's been through this enough. They know what this is, but whenever there's an improvement project proposed and a report prepared, if the majority of the landowners owning 70% of the land object, it stops. That just stops it. It has to meet both. If parcel's owned by husband and wife together, that's 2 landowners. Usually with a trust, that's 1. So you might have 10 people in the trust, but it has to meet both. They have to be the majority of the landowners, so anything over 50% of the landowners, and they have to own at least 70% of the land. So sometimes they're stopped by that, sometimes they're not, and
A repair can't be stopped, but improvement can.
Are you saying this definitely needs to be repaired?
repair would do minimal benefit because it only has a 1/8 inch drainage coefficient. We're recommending an improvement is what we're recommending because it's so low.
If landowners voted down the improvement, would you have to go ahead with repair?
Well, I'm not sure
Is
what
there a
there is.
petition for repair?
I don't think there's a petition for repair.
The petition was to approve it.
There is a repair that needs to be done on it,
Right,
down at the end, that ditch.
yes.
But, yeah,
And it's a huge issue.
a couple
So-
hundred feet blown out the depth of the ditch,
Yeah,
20 feet wide.
Oh, wow.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
who had the picture of that?
Well, I don't have one anymore. Sean
Some-
Helgeson had one.
There we go. I knew I had seen it.
Yeah.
Sean took a picture of it. It's very bad. It needs to be repaired no matter what we do. But we wanted to see how today went to know what we could do. Because we didn't want to do it twice.
A repair will happen if the improvement doesn't.
That's just on the, essentially the end of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. I haven't been out there.
After we clean the ditch, is that the area that we rip-wrapped, or was that a different place?
No, I'm guessing that it blew out a couple hundred feet up and then washed everything out. Because, I mean, there's nothing, there's a couple pieces of tile left laying in there and all the rest of it is in the Mississippi or something. You can't, I haven't seen them anywhere in the ditch yet anyway. Haven't been along the whole thing, but, so, I'm assuming there must have been, because there's a couple chunks of the old clay left there, and then they've done a repair there once, because there's a chunk of plastic hanging out that's dropped down in, and that's still there, but then everything from there to the ditch is gone. And
What lateral was that?
that's on lap 11.
It is
right at
11.
the ditch.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yep.
The outlet.
Yep.
Oh, right.
Yep.
Yep.
Do you know what size the tile is? I can't read this. It's,
I don't know if it's a 15 or an 18 there.
okay, so not real
It's
big.
not over an 18, I know that. But it's been too cold for me to want to jump in there and measure it.
Sean said he hadn't seen anything like it.
No.
You don't wanna feel like a salmon trying to swim upstream to it.
Maybe when it's 100 degrees this weekend they would, but not until.
Yeah, it looks like our calculations say that it's a 15 down there, so.
So the term, if this ends up a remonstrance, we still have to address that.
Correct.
If this is not a remonstrance and we start moving forward,
It still needs to be fixed,
because
no matter
Yeah,
what.
we fixed this
keeps
repair.
it being functional.
But it will just add to the cost because you're gonna put in a 15 and then you're gonna take that out and then put in a new one.
Well, it'll automatically be fixed if you go into improvement.
But when?
But when, he needs that now.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean? It
But
needs
if
to
the
be-
improvement goes, I could just put in what's going in.
There you go. That's what I.
Oh, can you? Can you?
Well, I mean, because it's gonna be bigger.
Oh,
so I
Right,
mean,
yeah.
Just
If that, but.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Repair it the way it's gonna be if it gets.
If it
improved.
gets switched.
There you go.
Yeah, we're talking 30 inch for the half-inch coefficient, so.
So would that change, would you do that outside the bid of the project then?
Not necessarily. We, knowing this, we'd structure it to take care of that. We would put in the right size pipe through that stretch to handle it without using the old system. And then from there on, we could consider using the old system as a extra removal if we want to.
I was gonna say, why do we have to take the old system out? Why can't we run alongside?
We typically don't. That's what we
Just
nearly always do. is
And the
run
new one
alongside.
next to it?
Just where this is gone,
Just pick up tile.
let's not put a 15 and a 30 in, let's maybe put a 36 inch.
Yeah, take it all.
Take it all. Put one little bit bigger pipe in, but the rest of it, we nearly always just parallel the old line and use it as long as we can.
Well, are they gonna be able to go lower for more
Hopefully, we'll check all that. We'll try and figure out where that ditch elevation's supposed to
That,
be.
if
in
if
those
this goes
records.
through, that'll be the next step after this. They go out and they actually spot dig and check. And
Yeah,
I can tell you it'll be lower, because the old tile that's there, and there's 4 foot of cover they've given up there from the ditch, at least, maybe 6, from where that is to what it's washed out, and that's still above the ditch. Because where it blew out, there's only a couple feet of cover over it, so if you were gonna go to a 36, it would, if you had to go at that grade, I mean, I'd be hooking it.
But is that in some peat ground then?
Not really peat, no,
Okay.
but it's lower ground.
I just wondered if it's been pushed up.
No. Because it's, yeah, there's, from where the bottom of the tile to where it is washed out, I know it's probably 6 feet, because, you know, you lose your vision once the water is there, so I don't know how deep that water is, but, and that's above the ditch yet, so. Down there, I know we got 4 foot of fall or cover we can pick up, but, so that would translate all the way up.
that's good moving forward, to know we can get that in there and have cover. We'll prove that to ourselves as we do the field work for this, if this goes forward.
So is it time for questions, or?
Oh, yeah, this is the public hearing.
Okay, first I'll start with a statement. No one I've talked to is in favor of this. I mean, the cost of it's just, I want it done, I know other people want it done, and I'm not for it at this price tag. I would like to see something done though. So I'm wondering, can we do it in steps? Can we do some kind of a improvise in between kind of deal? The one thing I'm the guy that called Rick.
Oh, okay.
Asked about the lat 11.
Sure.
For me, and it would be Bruce up on Rudvig's there, and then Marv over here on Dale. We're all on that lat. And back in, I don't know if it was early 70s or end of 60s, my grandpa put an 18-inch up through. So most of that lat has been replaced with an 18. And then at that time, he asked the district if they wanted to go all the way to the ditch. Nobody did, so he tied in there. So we got a major bottleneck there. So, and then where lat 12 takes off, that was replaced. Do you remember when that was, Mark, that you guys petitioned to have that fixed? Was it 15 years ago now?
About 15.
I suppose. It had been blowing out in mine there.
I think it probably 17, because it was before we put the first grass in, and that was 02.
So from where it heads west and then north up to Britvigs, that's all new pipe.
Yeah, it
That's
used to
all
be
new
right under the
plastic,
center of the road they got
15-inch
crushed.
dual wall in there.
So on his side of the east side of the road, that's where they.
My thought or suggestion is we do something up there so that we can relieve the pressure of the 2 mains, and then skip over up to Britvigs and then take off from there again. And then at some point later on, if we want to upgrade the coefficiency, we run another thing alongside of it and hook them together to take more water faster up there. That way everybody gets some relief, but hopefully at a price tag half or less than that. I'd love to get rid of my drowned out, but good God, it'll take 30 plus years to pay for it, and I'm not gonna do that,
Well, like he said, that's a big deal with the 18 and a 15 dumping into the bottom
Into a
end that's
15.
15. A bottom where lat goes south.
Yeah. And I know, unfortunately, that's the most expensive part of this project, is the bottom end of it. But,
yeah.
But I'm pretty sure lat 11 could probably live just fine on that 15 all the way to the ditch. Not positive, but You could probably tell us what the watershed, if we have enough coefficiency on that to do that, and then just run another, 24 or 30 alongside it to hook up to lat 12. Then we wouldn't have to go as big there. We'd have both of them there working. I think the reason that 15 blew out is where it did, it's shallow. Well, then you got your freezing effects going on there. It doesn't have to go very far north, and it should be good again. Doesn't mean we can't have issues and have to fix that too, but.
Is open ditch out of the question?
Under the railroad?
It'd be hard to get.
Yeah, it is, especially on his.
I don't want it through my farm.
His 80.
I wouldn't
would
be
wreck
in
the
favor
farm.
of it, no. On any of that, really, but I'd rather just put my drowned out in CRP and forget about it than, in all reality. But,
Well, that's a problem. I just put a farm in till 2031 because of the water.
Yeah, and one I farm's on the north side of that. It just gets worse and worse every year.
yeah.
Do you think work on the lower part of 11 would solve a lot of problems?
I don't know you guys know what it's like up in it? Is there blowouts all over the place? Do you have them here, Mark?
Yeah, 12,
No,
yeah.
the problem I got is people coming in digging and looking for the tile, gonna make bids on this, and I'm driving a tractor out there to cut down where they drowned it out, and my front end of my tractor falls in these holes about this deep, where they don't fill them back in. They don't even ask permission to go out on the farm and do it.
Who's doing that?
Well, one guy was from Thompson. There was
Lahar was out there.
well, La Harb wasn't it. They filled it in.
Yeah, but Crawl was out there.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Who's that?
That's been a while though.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
And there's still holes. I was driving my four-wheeler out there spraying weeds, and all of a sudden I go down in a hole. The thing was about this deep, and I had to get my pickup to pull it out.
Everything up north there is shot in. It's all clay, and when it's shallow, the freezing just destroys
Breaks it up.
So, yeah, everything up north, I'm sure, needs to be redone. We do have some on lat 11 where it hooks over to the east. It's clay that I've done some work on. And I know Bruce has got some in his one that he's got.
It is only about 3 feet deep.
But this project needs to be done, but there's some people that have to sell their land to pay for it.
Well, so I'm wondering if we were to do just the lower part of 11.
Well, if you did it up to where 12 hooks into 11, at least somewhat that far.
After you subtracted the upper part, was that a $165,000 discount?
That's about right, I think.
And that brings it down to $213 on 11. So which is 1/5 of the cost of what we were talking about.
Well, if you could do it in steps, I don't.
It would take the pressure off of 12 to have someplace for it to go.
See, and I'm sure that would help that tile up there too, if it's not always, because that's what was happening on lat 12 before we fixed it 15 years ago. There was so much pressure, it kept blowing those clay tile. Well, once that got replaced, I haven't had a blowout there since. I had one every year, and they were the size of this room.
I just have
they're just huge.
one question to ask. If you go with the proceeding, are we gonna go deeper? If you measured it, we could set it down deeper, and if we just fix it, is that gonna change things, to keep it shallow or,
Well, we try and go deeper if we can. Even sometimes that means
you'd have to go gradual,
yeah,
shallow to the deeper.
upsizing the pipe one size bigger so we can go less slope if nothing else, to get the depth we need. It sounds like the depth is available though.
Yeah.
It is at the ditch end.
Yeah.
Now, if we don't replace that 15-inch pipe on lat 12, that was put in at the old grade.
Yeah.
you know, so that would be at whatever
So it'll be higher
depth
than
that
the new
was.
pipe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That'd be good.
it'd easy to outlet it into the new pipe.
That's all I.
We don't have a problem doing segments. I mean, we could, I'm not sure of procedure here, if you'd ask to continue this hearing and we resubmit something to just do that lower part and then see if there's objections.
We as supervisors don't want to push a project through.
Oh, no, Could bankrupt somebody or sell land to pay for
We'd
it.
rather investigate more.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Find out some
saying.
options.
If, based on the discussion today even, we could put together something to at least do the lower part of 11, and we could have options for, well, we could go as low as a 1/4 inch. I hate to do that, but I would hope the minimum we'd look at is a 1/2 inch coefficient on that lower part of 11 and summarize those
I
costs.
think that's a no-brainer if you're gonna do.
You're gonna do a half do and.
If you're gonna
an
do
inch.
it in sections,
That's good thought.
Build a
and
big.
and everybody wants to do it, I think it's a great idea to start at the bottom and work up.
Yeah,
But
get
if you
rid
did
of that
this
water faster down there, so
over
you
10 or
take pressure
15
off
years,
everything up above. So
Yes, and then if that's new from 11 up to your south fence line to his place, he's saying that's new there. And even if a guy could get, just fix the rest of 12 up to, you know, under the road on Smith's, even if it had to go in the same, you know, through
Just
you
the repair
guys.
you're talking about.
Yep, through else, and then at least to the farm I'm farming,
Yeah,
you would have at least new tile from there down to the new, or not new tile, but,
to the old, the
yeah,
repair.
to the 11.
Which one
You
are
know,
you farming?
Smith's.
Okay.
Yep, Donnabelle's up on, so that's got the 12 goes through and 29 and 13. But I know this is all, it's a huge deal. I just think any improvement
Well, for you guys,
for
yeah.
starting, you know, because when this come out, I knew this. Because I kind of the one who got the ball rolling, because it's been years, I've been trying, that's how Kroll and LaHarve got out there. I said, and then we had some miscommunication on, I said, well, you gotta get someone out there to just see what's going on. Well, it went into repairs. It didn't get,
Yeah, nobody ever told me what needed to happen.
Yeah.
They went out there, sent me a bill, I thought it was
Stuff
done.
they're digging and you never hear anymore.
Yeah, I didn't.
and neither did I, after, you know, until.
Yeah.
So that LaHarve did, when I come in, took a bunch of shots up there.
Well, yeah, so did Kroll, but Kroll never did anything with it. LaHarve filled in all the holes. I mean, we're talking
why would
20
he not
holes.
fill in the holes?
What's that?
Why would he not fill in?
Who and they? That's all I'm gonna say. Who the hell knows?
My thought is, if we do this in sections, how does that go for bidding for a contractor? Would they want to do it in sections?
It's not-
Or is it,
That,
is it gonna be
exactly.
separate projects then?
Well, it
So
would
we'll
have
just-
to be a
That's how
separate.
I'd see it.
We'll just have
I
separate
would say
projects.
your benefit would be then they gotta bid each time,
Okay,
you know.
Yeah.
really.
But you'd get the major engineering part of it done, so you know when it's done, we don't have to pay for that 4 times.
And then
right.
as you go, every few years, add another little section to it.
But you know, every few years, you might have $200 an acre you can pay instead of $100 an acre for 20 years.
So are we thinking that right now we wouldn't do anything with 13 and 29? Because I've been charging them engineering fees based on the length of the project.
I mean, that'd be great to do something with them, but if down below isn't, like, I think it's a great idea to start down there and then see what, if you can relieve some of this up there.
See
See
how much
what-
pressure is taken off the rest of it.
How much
Knowing
more,
there's a bottleneck on the bottom right
Yeah,
now.
I mean,
Obviously, that might
obvious.
be a resolution.
I mean, that's why there's 40 acres of that farm in CRP right now. 'Cause
That's why 140's in.
Only a 15-inch tile under the railroad and the highway. There's our problem right there.
A big,
Well, the
a big
railroad is the
portion of
problem, you
it.
can't tile.
Yeah, well, that's gotta be dealt with. You can get under it. People
Well,
do
you
it.
suppose you'd have to bore it underneath the
Yeah.
railroad. that's
Yeah.
all, so.
Yeah.
And
And if you're gonna spend the money, you better go, I think 48, get it
Yeah,
done once.
Yeah, get
worth
it done
doing
right on the
one
lower end, so
on the lower.
when you do improve the upper end in time, it.
Then you gotta go onto the county road too. blacktop.
But yeah,
That's
like
ours,
he said,
that's the county's responsibility there.
that'd be a great idea if you start with the 1 inch, do this in the 1 inch coefficient at the bottom, get to where our bottleneck is.
And then see what happens.
See what happens there.
Give it a year and see how.
I mean,
See, now,
See if our tiles work.
Yeah.
The bottleneck is actually right at the blacktop. Because my 18 runs parallel. What he did was, there was an old clay 12 inch. And he ran parallel to that all the way up through the low ground there. So there's a 12 inch that runs alongside, and I don't know, maybe that ties right in where this, it must, it ties right in where it's showing there. Okay, so from that east-west part on lat 12, from there down to the gravel, or down to the blacktop, there's the 15 inch, and that's maybe still clay there. And then right beside it is my 18 inch cement, and they tie together right at the road is what I've been told. And I know it's close because we've had it dug up about 200 feet north of the blacktop.
On the north side of the road.
Yep.
Yeah.
So our bottleneck is actually right there. So, I mean, the big stuff would only have to get to,
If you're gonna do it in phases, and this is the first project, you might only have to get through the blacktop.
yep, get on the other side of the blacktop, and then we'll have 2 mains going underneath everything.
Is the lat 11 between the blacktop and lat 12 big enough to handle what's coming between the upper half of 11 and what's 12 and up? Is it worth, if you're gonna do it, is it worth going all the way up to where 12 joins?
That's what I was
Yeah.
looking at it. That would take the most pressure off. But
It's, well, I guess what I'm saying is lat 11 is 18 all the way to the road. Okay? And lat 12 is 15 all the way to the road. They're
well,
2
well,
separates running next to each other. They don't actually tie together like it's showing here.
Okay.
Other than the old.
This here is
Other than
the
your
old
old-
county tile.
Yeah, so, but
Okay,
you're
so-
saying the upper lat 11, the old one,
Yep,
and lat 12, they tie together, then go down?
yeah. But
Besides your-
the old lat 11 is not actually really functioning.
So
That's all busted up through my low ground. That's why there's an 18 up through there.
there's 2 tile from
Yep,
the point of lat 12 down.
yep.
And are they,
Done.
is one of them private then?
That's the way I'm understanding it. I guess I've never tried to have the county fix it. My grandpa told me it was his, he put it in on his own. So, yeah, because lat 11 was all a disaster 30 years ago. All busted up in his, and then he put this in deeper, and it's about 16, 18 inches deeper than the old county that was in there. And then he put an 18 in instead of a 12. So, but then didn't go all the way to the ditch.
Just tied it into the
Just tied
15.
it in.
So, yeah.
What's your thoughts on this, Rick?
We're certainly not opposed to staging something. It'll do them a significant good, even just taking it up to the north side of the paved road, the way it sounds. If there's an 18 and a 15 that get that far.
Would you engineer the whole thing then at one time?
And we've basically done that already as far as with this report. So we'll have that information as
You
far as
haven't gone through
sizing.
the physical spot.
So
digging
going on in the
way off.
future, we won't have to hire an engineering firm again, in a sense, to have re-engineered all.
Right. I mean,
You
it'd still be,
you actually have the specs for a contractor?
no.
No. So would you do that?
Well, we wouldn't do that for the whole thing, but you could use that same spec, just changing quantities for a new bid to go further. It'd minimize the effort in the future with what we do now. Because we'd have the sizes, and distances. And we'd have flow lines that we find when we go out and dig this up. And I don't know.
Just the bottom though.
Yeah.
How would you charge on that?
Just be like to get the plans and specs? Or?
Yeah, I mean, normally on $1 million project, I mean.
Well, it'd be, if it's a lot smaller, it might be a little higher percentage. It's actual time spent is how we do it.
Most of your bills are coming in by the hour, okay?
Oh, yeah, yeah, nearly everything. We rarely do lump sums with you. Yeah, because, yeah, see, we had engineering at 120,000 doing all of this, so.
So if you cut that back and just engineer the lower end.
Yeah, final engineering on the lower end, and the upper end is preliminary engineering covered with this. So that will already be paid. Yeah, just be hourly. And we would want to dig it up though, and we insist on sending letters out to everybody. Now, sometimes if we're not right with the contractor, they don't backfill it very well. That's a problem.
I don't care, it's somebody else's list.
Oh, well, yeah.
So, if you're just looking at lateral 11, and you're going up to the lateral 12, just per se, are you deducting about the same amount for not doing the upper 11? Did you engineer upper 11 about the same for both of those, or did you have an increase on upper 11?
Well, we did. We took 11, even the upper part, and included it.
Yeah.
And then, are you saying would we?
I'm just trying to see how did you design upper 11 size-wise for the two coefficients?
Just
looks like 12 on both of them.
It might have been.
So really, if you take the 1 inch coefficient for lateral 11 and you deducted 165,000 for not doing the upper.
Yeah, what size of pipe did you stop at?
Well,
Probably when it goes to 15.
On 11, yeah, we have just a small amount of 12 and 15. I think those are mostly for connections. The majority of it, the smallest we go is 18 inch. Or
once I got there, it got deeper, and then the clay was good. And then when it gets over
24 inch,
it's shallow.
So where the 24 inch starts, you take that off, so that $36,000 price is gone then, and everything after that?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
That'd get you close.
So you'd still do the 48 and the 36 for that roughly 3,100 feet?
Right, that's what I'd say.
I'm just trying to differentiate if we went all the way up to lat 12 or if we stopped at the road.
You're going to have the majority of the costs even stopping short because two things. Well, the main thing is the railroad. There's extra time involved in permitting. You may have some extra costs with insurance. They make you carry insurance. Sometimes they make you hire their flagmen. There might be one train a day, and we had a project in Calhoun County where they insisted on flagmen, and the district had to pay for it. And so we have to get through those hurdles. So it'd take a little bit more engineering per foot wise, I'll put it, to handle it that way. But
are they union guys?
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the fees were astronomical for the time involved.
And what you had to do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The press is here. Oh, well.
I was gonna say the one at the Cabo Head, I probably could have handled the job.
Yes, and this was a waterway clean-out job in Calhoun County, and we cleaned up both sides to the railroad right-of-way, and the contractor said, we'll take care of it. And it got done somehow. We didn't know. We didn't want to know. but
Were Guido and Rocco involved?
I don't think it was, but, no, we'll find out what the railroad is and what their requirements are, and,
So I guess the question at this point is, what do you guys want to see looked into at this point?
if we can come up with some kind of summary for that, that would be
It'd
it.
be something where he would put together and we'd get back together.
Right, well, what scope of work are we looking at now for him to come up with?
Well, you gotta fix Doug's, you know, if you gotta fix it, you might as well do it
At a
right.
minimum, you're going past the road,
Pass the road up to where,
well, just across the road.
Yeah,
As a minimum.
As a minimum,
and then
Possibly.
well, you wanna go up as far as,
second option would be go up to 12,
go up to 12. That's what I would say.
and that would be about the scope of work for now then?
And laterals, kind of good outlet, that should improve.
That'll improve a lot.
Yeah.
and then if that's, like you said, that's new through up to your guys' farm.
And are we looking at both half-inch and 1-inch coefficient doing this?
Yeah.
Because you've got a lot of the numbers.
Oh, we got a lot of the numbers
So that could
figured
be
out.
much to put this
No,
together.
no. Very little to put this
But
together.
I think it needs to be separated into another option, so it's pretty clear. what we're
Yes,
doing, rather than,
yes.
well, we gotta subtract
I'll call it
this,
an
subtract
amendment to this.
Go ahead.
Okay, but, okay, from the road up to where lateral 12 looks at lateral 11, are you gonna take into account that the 18-inch private main is there? Or are you taking the rest of lateral 11?
See, that's
Otherwise, you're gonna have a huge, way more capacity than you need if you're gonna factor in everything for lateral 11 and 12 in that distance, you've already got an 18-inch.
Well, if the 12 and 18 are in good enough condition, and it sounds like those are relatively new, or by
Well, 12 be on
standards.
the,
Yeah.
way on the south end of 12.
Feels like we should take advantage of those. And if that's the case, then we maybe just as well stop north of the road.
Yeah, because that's my thought, is we leave the main that's there, and lat 11 stays on that main. If we need to, we can tee over into it, if we need to relieve some pressure, but that would be it. And that old main would basically service lat 11. And then everything else will come on the new main that comes up from the ditch.
The private tile that was put in, is it on the east or west side?
It's on the east side.
Okay, so it doesn't tie into 12.
No, no, it doesn't.
But you're saying we should repair the lower end?
Of what's here.
Because that's what the upper part of 11 drains through. And keep it draining through it?
Yep.
Okay.
So then you're saying you just need a main to handle everything.
Yeah. I still say we put it in as big as we should,
Yeah.
up to the road.
Your private tile has essentially become 11 then, right? It has replaced the county 11 effectively.
Basically.
North of the road. Yeah, but it's not servicing 12.
So anyways, yeah, I still think we put it in as big as we can up to the road, because, I mean, we all tile, we're gonna keep tiling, we're gonna keep plunking more into it, I know we are.
Well, you don't dare.
So, we don't wanna mess with the railroad again, it's
Oh,
like
no.
fighting with the mob,
No,
we don't wanna do it.
Get that done right first.
Yeah,
exactly.
and then once we get north of the road, then we, from there, we try and take care of stuff, you know. Then we downsize to what we need so that we can cheapen it up and still get everybody taken care of.
So you're saying 1-inch coefficient that's from.
That's what I think.
That would be,
I mean, because if you look at the getting under the railroad, it costs $100,000 to put a 1/2 inch and $130,000 to put a 1-inch. Well, that's
got a
kind
lot
of,
more
I mean,
for less than
what's
done.
$30,000 when we're blowing a, you know, all that money to get under there? And that's the reason that this has never been done before, is the railroad. So,
Well, now if we can find something that will bore under it, that would help. I don't know if we can.
Yeah, it'd help. The only thing would be the fixed cost you'd have with insurance and flagman and those kinds of things.
Well, they can bore. I mean.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's not a problem.
You can what?
They can bore
Bore it
it. I mean,
under.
that's what they're planning, right?
Because we're
Yes.
talking under the railroad and the 1-inch coefficient would be 48 or.
yep. It's a big boy.
You done?
Yes.
Okay. Want to be sure I had your number. Okay. Well, yeah, we can put an amendment together for this. Matter of you continue this, you don't want to do a new notice,
No.
so.
So we would, actual today, we would not close this public hearing,
Right,
but
you just
vote to continue it at a future date.
Yes.
And then could a guy look in to what the repair, so this is new on 12 too, is just repairing from your fence line up to at least
Your.
to the Smith.
So you got a new outlet.
So you got at least that new tile, or, it's all junk.
You're talking west of the road.
Well, where 12 crosses,
She's got it on the map up there, on the screen, you see the building site's kind of carved out there in blue?
Yep.
And where 12 crosses the driveway, that's been, the thick line there above the numbers is Rudvik's driveway. That is where it's always been blowing out. There's been repairs, some repairs done there, but I think north of that is probably junk. And is, I think, what you're asking to
Yeah.
repair.
yeah, to do this bottom and then repair that.
Repair by replacement, right?
And
Yeah.
that's a simple process to
Yeah.
repair. I mean,
Yeah.
I think there's so much water coming through, it's a 15 through by the building site, it's 15-inch tile, it's clay, and they're not round, they're kind of egg-shaped, and they blow pretty easy. But there is so much water coming through that tile, we've tried to fix it, and we have to wait until a really dry period.
Right.
2012.
Well, till you can even do repair
And I would
on it.
say-
Because if you dig a hole, you have a blowout, or the tile's down there somewhere, you can't repair it until it's at least under half full, and then try to fix it.
That or see what happens.
So,
once
but it runs a lot of water. I would say if they had another 15 going alongside of it,
or get this bottom in,
and
then maybe the 15 would handle it.
Or,
Or at least
They
it'll
can-
handle it enough to where you can do repair.
Yeah.
yeah, well, just
Yeah.
alongside of it, they can plow in 15-inch tile
Yeah.
with a plow, and it doesn't cost, this much money.
Yep. But definitely to get the bottom. And then you'd be able to see if that, whether that 15 clay now that's running full because of everything up above anyways, does come down a little, that just repairing or replacing at 15 would work then, but, it wouldn't, right?
One, just putting a new 50 won't solve any problem. We need 2 of them at least, to get your water. If your water has to come down before we're lower than you,
But it
Yeah,
never
top
does.
end always.
There's sometimes the water below me goes down before me.
Ours doesn't leave till yours does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've seen it where it fills up mine from you,
Yeah.
So do I understand the consensus here? That you all want to do the 1-inch coefficient past the road there?
Yep.
And then we'll look at repairs going forward?
Well, anything's an improvement.
Yeah.
These days, 100 years old is tile.
Well, the problem is combines weigh 16 times what they did when that was built. Oh, that's right, there wasn't combines.
Horses.
Yeah, it's just like the gravel roads, they designed them when they were using horses and buggies.
I think that's a good idea to start.
So, just so I have it right.
Yep.
We're gonna start the ditch, and we're gonna do 48 to just the road.
under
The north side of the
on the
road.
north side of the road.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna leave it alone until it gets to lat 12. And then what are we doing?
We're just
For
gonna
lat
do-
12.
We're gonna let it do its thing. and
See what happens.
what
So we're not gonna
repairs need to be done.
touch lat 12 right now. Okay,
We'll,
right.
we'll hook, we'll
He'll
hook
be the
lat
determining
12 up
factor on
to
gotcha.
the new one.
Cause
Put
that's,
a T in from lat 11 over, where, so that we don't have pressure from the 18 and 15 blowing it out, kind of deal. And then hop up to the north side of Britvigs at some point, and then repair up there. And then if that doesn't work, we'll add some more on top of that. Sound like a plan?
sounds like a start anyways.
Got all that, Rick?
I think so. I hope so.
When's a good time to?
Oh, yeah.
when we can have that
Yeah.
done?
That's one other thing, if we decide, or I mean, if somebody asks to do repairs further on or more, it should be a consensus amongst all of us again, or we have to get together,
Well,
you know, to add.
if just one of you guys asks for repair, we have to do it. So, just to let you know, if you want to discuss it before you get all of us.
We would take input on scope of work on the repair, how far are we gonna repair it, things like that. We can't determine the sizing, we just determine how much of it are we repairing.
So is there a dollar limit or anything
Well,
on
when you get up to a
repair?
certain point, then there's certain criteria we have to meet as far as, do we have to have engineering, do we have to have,
Yeah, but you've already got the engineering taken care of, you know.
no,
Other
it's
than
just
getting it
repair
fixed.
it, we don't.
Hopefully, nobody in these 4 laterals will be calling with a repair.
Talk amongst yourselves, before you call us.
When it comes to repair, we had an instance in Hancock County where somebody submitted a repair, and then the engineer looked at it and all that, and then the person who submitted the repair, they all decided it was gonna be too expensive, they couldn't even withdraw it. Once it's been put in the chute, a repair has to go. So,
So Doug, what do you want to do with your problem right now, because we don't have specs for new? What are we gonna do to fix yours?
Well, that's gonna remain in service, so it needs to be repaired. If that,
So
that's
we-
what the plan is that's still gonna function for lat 11.
So we still need to find somebody
Correct.
to do a 48-inch
So
repair that.
that 18 is just, we're gonna just parallel the 18 with our new pipe.
Yep.
Would be 15 down there.
Yeah, it's 15
Oh, it's
down there,
15,
but
okay,
my 18 starts at the road, but yeah,
okay.
I think anyway, that's what it is.
Well, we can do it either way. We either size it bigger and not take any consideration from your 15, or we go ahead and repair the 15 and use that capacity.
Well, when would this be done? I mean, if we
Well,
were
the
to.
repair, you could
No, I'm
arrange.
talking if we're not gonna repair the 15, I mean, when would this other project be done?
Well, realistically, in a situation like this, we're gonna need to get locates and elevations on the existing tile system. And we can't really do that till the crops are out. So it'd be what we'd probably do is a fall investigation and design, winter bid letting, and and spring construction. That have all the factors going for you you want. You bid it at the right time of year, you give them time to build it, and get the best prices you can.
What's your crop look like out there? You're the one that's
I
affected.
planted around it, I mean, you can't.
Well,
You can
the
drive
one
a
spot,
stop.
but I'm talking about farther up where they're doing spot digging.
Oh, yeah.
You
You can't see the crop, the water is still standing.
It's all fine north of it,
Okay.
you know. So you're saying that they would actually do it the following, next spring?
Yeah.
If we went ahead with this?
Yes. That's the best realistic
I've seen
timing.
people out, I don't know who it was, somebody was tiling just recently in their bean field.
Yeah,
Danny
no, I
Ruckus.
don't have a
Yeah,
problem
Danny.
with that kind of stuff. I'm just trying to think if I wanna work around it, I mean, that's not really safe, you know?
That's the pictures I saw.
For a year in it, but I don't know what it'll cost to fix it either.
I'm just thinking that if we can get the investigative digging done earlier than later, we can get on the schedule to be done by next spring. Right?
Yeah, if we can
Well,
get out
his
there.
doesn't need any investigation.
That repair doesn't, no.
You got a good bottom shot there.
But, so, I mean, how often do you have to dig?
So to the road, how many times you gonna have to dig? Or do you have to?
Well, if it's straight shot, it's not too bad.
You're gonna probably wanna dig on the north side where it is now.
Yes. Yep.
Because, you know,
we
we
like to
could,
go every 300 or 400 feet.
so that would be probably
1,320.
once across that 80 and once by the railroad. Because the first 300 feet you can see.
That sounds like it. Rather obvious.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, so you're just looking at the elevation and where it's at kind of thing?
Yeah.
So I should maybe go out there and probe it now. I could put flags in and get you,
That'd be very helpful, because we could either four-wheeler or walk out and
Yeah.
GPS the locations.
and then on the north side I got beams, so you can just pop in by the road there and dig out there. And then on the other side, you could drive in along the railroad right away and then pop out into the field.
Does the private tile come into the right of way, road right of way?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's just north of the, from what I understand anyway, it's just north of the intake there in the ditch.
Does private show up on our map?
Nope.
Okay.
You only wish.
It's
No.
basically, it's basically right next to it.
do, but must not be.
I wanna say there's 10, 12 feet in between it, cause I've seen both of them dug up at the same time. So, there's not a lot of distance, well, maybe I should say 20.
And that's
But-
taking all the water from lap 11.
Yep.
Yeah, getting us started on the right location makes a big difference. That's where we sometimes ended up with a trench figure 100 feet long, just finding the tile.
I've seen
Oh,
that.
there's some
Yeah.
tiles showing there.
Cause there's, at the road, there's an intake on both north and south side
On the tile?
on the tile.
Doug, some tiles are showing up on private there, but it doesn't show a parallel one.
Yeah, no, and this was done long enough ago that, let's see, where are we at here? Yeah, that there, I'm
Right here
guessing is-
somewhere is where you're talking the tile should be, right?
Yep. And it's basically, you just parallel that, your tile line, cause I can go out there about anywhere. Well, actually, some of the old 12-inch clay is broke open again. It still takes a little bit of water once in a while, and enough to make a suck hole.
Can you determine depth of the private tile by probing? At the end,
Where, you mean at the road?
towards the road?
Well, it's at the, I mean, you can, at the road, you can, there's an intake, so you can get depth there.
But you said that your private tile is a little bit farther north, right?
Yeah, not, but I mean, it's within, I'm guessing it's within 50 feet of the road right away, is my guess. I don't know that for sure, but that's my guess. He said they ran it all the way down. But, and it can't, I mean, it can't be any different than the bottom of the tile that's there. You know, it can't, it could be higher, but it can't be lower. Because it wouldn't, the tile wouldn't take it.
So the old lat, where did the old lat 11 and 12 tie in where they show it?
Yeah. So they're still probably tied together there. Yeah. So from there to about where it starts to hook, it's probably still functioning. And then the rest of it is, I mean, I pick pieces out every, you know.
Stop it.
I know.
But yeah, I would
Click somewhere else.
get that bottom, then we just
So I want
Get it figured out.
I wanna zoom in on the railroad now. Just over and
But so for you, Rick,
Yeah.
we're blowing out down here.
Yep.
So, you know, if you dug, so if you dug once here and then once there, you know, and then we've got intake here and here, you know, so you can get elevation there, you should be able to get it here, right here. We'll be able to do that without much drop damage, and we can pop out. I can come and probe it here some, and try and get you an idea where it's at, you know, so then we can pop in here and dig once.
So where would be the field?
You'd enter the field right here. You could follow the railroad down and pop in and dig
I'm
there.
probably gonna have one of my field guys call you and meet with you.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's
Be sure we're looking at it right.
Yep.
And find out where you grow.
And I'll go out, I don't want to do it tomorrow, but sometime this week, and then, put some flags in and stuff. I can maybe take, I got a handheld GPS. You know, find it if.
So that's probably going out there.
And spot it, but if, get coordinates on it.
Yeah, but there's very little.
Okay.
And then if I stick a probe in, then I can get a depth on it.
Perfect.
You know.
And we'll a lot of times shoot the top of the probe.
I'm guessing I'll lose,
And there's also.
depth, you know, get too deep in my probe after it gets
That's a whole nother-
north of ways.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Then outlet, intake the exit and outlet.
Shoot 6 inches high.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Think it quit.
Yeah, battery might be.
Yeah.
Shake it.
No, I better not.
But
I don't trust my throat.
Deal is to get the bottom done right.
Before you guys put that.
Engineering company should be giving those away.
Oh, hey, that's a thought.
What they're
We look for things, yeah. There you go.
And it's all new here,
When do you
right?
think you could have a new
They stop there.
report?
The one you're talking about, you make blowouts on sometimes. That's-
Well, the report itself won't take that long to get out there and do a final design on it and get the railroad permitted. It'll take some time.
Oh, okay. Not that.
And the permit before you.
Before we do the plans and specs, I'd like to at least get the application made, know what they're gonna request.
No, the new stuff was.
We don't have anything coming up with you, do we?
That was.
Not until that August date.
They'd wanna do it before then.
It was.
Right.
Can we get the lights back on, please?
Would you like to turn the light back on, please? Thank you.
Coming through this area.
Let me see what I got.
Does that cross over into?
It stays right in the ditch. Actually, the plastic is run right along the road.
The other one's right in the road.
Yeah, it was. So it runs in my field right along the road.
Once you get down below the hill
All the
body.
way north to where it hooks there.
What do they got over in yours?
What are we looking
I'm
at?
thinking maybe July,
Big what?
Is that
Couple weeks.
yeah.
inspection door or whatever in the CRP there? Or is that not yours?
Are you guys,
No,
okay
that's
with July
cut off the
16th?
water.
Oh, that's
What
just
on
their
July
Continue this on
16th?
July 16th?
Get water down in the thing.
Carl.
What?
Hi.
Sorry.
They're thinking about July 16th to do a continuation of this hearing. And he would have some better specs and dollar amounts.
Dollar amounts for the work.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm basically here for Donabelle's behalf, you know, and so, yeah, that'll work.
I just want to make sure with everybody that,
Same time, same place.
well, do you want to do a different time of day?
You guys know if anybody else in here that wanted to be here but couldn't?
I know
Well,
that-
I'm speaking for my aunt and that she doesn't want what we got here now, whether she's okay with what we go ahead with, I guess we'll find that out.
I'm just saying.
And as of right now, I do not have a remonstrance for any of the projects, unless you guys that are here sign something for me. And then I still
And they
wouldn't have
have
enough.
until the next meeting to do that.
Right.
What I'm saying is, could we email you the cost,
Oh, they can get with me, yeah.
you know, or call?
Yeah.
And it might not necessarily need to be, it might be more you wanna spend, and you're gonna say, let's nix it.
So
But
when
then
do
I
you
would
think
need
you
a lot
have
more
that
people to sign
information
that.
available?
Before the 16th.
Yeah, not much.
So,
Maybe not, I don't know. I hope so. I'm gonna talk to my field guy that I wanna have
Okay,
come
so-
over.
well, what are you saying about the remonstrance? Do we, I mean, is that something we should sign so that we're protected, that, no, we don't wanna do this?
I believe yes,
Okay,
because otherwise,
Well, we haven't passed anything yet. so-
no, but at least we have something on record and on file that you guys have said no. I would like
How
that.
does that
Yeah,
work?
but they're not gonna necessarily say no down the road, so it's, you know.
They may say yes to something.
Unless
that's
the
got a much
remonstrance
lesser scope.
indicates the whole project. That we're against
Could you
the
call,
entire project.
could you call the attorney?
Not right this second.
No, but,
Yeah.
yeah,
I just wanna make sure that it's in the minutes, for anybody that's looking back on this knows what we were doing. That's
Yeah.
all I want.
and, yeah, I think we should
If
have
we
it covered so
continue
that,
it-
because
Yeah.
we don't need a bunch of neighbors mad at us, and there's people that are not here, I know there are. You know,
yeah, that's no.
so, yeah, I'd just as soon not,
But if we,
either we're all in this together or we're not,
Right.
is my thought on it.
so your remonstrance would probably indicate that you are against the entire
Entire-
project. We'll come forward before the end of this public hearing with another option
Right.
that you could be for at that point.
So what do you know?
I think if we're just gonna continue it, I think we'll be okay,
Yeah, that's what I would think.
because we're continuing this
Because
hearing
we're, yeah,
of
because
this.
we're making no
project.
decisions today. We're
Right.
just waiting, we're putting the decisions off.
But we would like to have people here at that meeting.
Yeah, see, and like I told my aunt, I said, what I understood this meeting is just for discussion, we weren't gonna vote on anything. So, we should notify everybody that
I'll
the
send
next
another letter
one,
for this.
we're
version
gonna
to it.
vote and make a decision. So if you have an objection, be here.
But I will only send a letter for lat 11, because that's all we're gonna talk about next time, right? We're not talking about 12, 13, or 29.
So that,
That
Don't
part
they
of
all
it.
pay on it?
then that means that I don't, well, then you've gotta send
Then
them
you
all
gotta
letters.
send it to
Right.
them all.
So, but I'm just saying, it's just gonna involve the lat 11, which you all pay into anyway, because you all
That should
dump
catch
out.
everybody.
It's the outlet for
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Right, it's the outlet for everybody,
Yep.
but I'm not gonna talk about
No.
12, 13, and 29 anymore, right?
Well, it's a continuing public hearing, so it's in,
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're only
there may
gonna
be
talk
new
about
people
11.
here, and we probably have to explain to them why we're not gonna be doing anything on the rest of it.
But even at the next meeting, do we need an objection to the project as a whole? To give you,
We just won't bring it up for
It's,
a vote.
we're just not gonna accept those options.
okay.
We're gonna put another option in this report that will,
Downscale.
that will downscales it, and then we'll pick that one, and, or you guys will.
We don't vote on it, you guys vote on it, right?
Mhm.
We vote on it.
But with the
Well,
input
you
of the
can
landowners,
remonstrate.
So we're monstrous,
Yeah.
clear against it.
If you don't like the improvement of just the lower end, then that won't happen either. And that's, you,
Yeah, if
that,
that
to
comes
that
out
point,
way
you
too
will
expensive.
negate all options.
We can sign something the day of the hearing.
Yes.
you know, technically, if we came to that day and there wasn't a remonstrance put in place, but we knew there was a large contingency of people that are against it, we can continue it one more time and give them the chance to get their remonstrance together, and we just, the next week,
Well, we just don't have to do anything.
right, we can drag it.
You don't even need a remonstrance if we take it off the table, so, right?
I don't know. Maybe we're dealing with that.
Well, if we don't approve it, you can't go forward with it.
So it's like DD 11, one landowner owned over half the land and had full control of it. A lot of other people didn't like it, but they didn't have any control over it. And it went through.
Hopefully, it doesn't sound like that's the case here.
But really, a remonstrance just means that we have to have majority in favor of it and 70% of the land in favor of it. So,
But if you came back to 16th and you guys said,
To block it.
we don't wanna do it, we just won't bring it to the table.
I guess what I was getting at, if not over half the people want it, I don't want it either, is what I'm getting at. I don't need people doing this to me when I drive by.
We do already.
That's how we drive by though.
As far as you know, they're just waving.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't see in there anymore anyway.
I think we have a consensus on what we're doing here.
Okay,
Everybody's on the same page here, so.
I'm good, we can get out of your hair then.
When you get the, estimate of what the lower end would be, at the 1 inch coefficient, will you have that divided out as to how much each landowner,
I can.
could you?
So
Yeah,
maybe like the day before the thing, if people could call her and get the,
Because I want to contact my owners and say, okay, this is what it's probably gonna cost you.
As soon as I get, because you guys, did you all put your phone number down? Look at you. I don't know. If you all put your phone number down. But I can call you and say I have the estimate ready.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Or text us.
Yes, you all did put your phone numbers down. So, yep. Okay.
Everybody can get text? Yeah, text us all.
Okay. Sounds good, because I can do that. So if he gets it to me the week before or whatever, I can get it ready.
and you'll send out information, overall cost per acre, right?
Whatever's in his report, I will send.
For each landowner.
Yeah, yep.
Wow.
Mhm.
I'll have your cost per acre.
So I would like a motion to continue it to July 16th at what time?
I'm open.
10?
Or do we want to just do it right away?
9 o'clock, get it over with.
Okay.
Yep.
9?
That's the motion.
I'll second it.
We got a motion from Stenzer and a second from Jensel to continue the public hearing until July 16th at 9 a.m. To allow for the engineer to come up with another option. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So that kind of negates discussion on number 17.
Sure does.
Yep.
All right. So that'll be at the next meeting too.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You got my number if you need to.
Yep.
So, thanks, Rick.
Diane, I just wrote down, have Derek meet with Doug Harmon, is it?
Yep.
Now. So, you'll be getting a call.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
Who do I talk to?
I'll make a motion to do lunch break.
No, not there. Let me get rid of this. You know, we're down here. There's a driveway that goes right next to the